says I'm live on Draw Curiosity. Okay. Let me just quickly type that. The stream is also... Thank you, Sirius. Of course that happened the moment I went live. YouTube and the big chat, you said after. Yeah, maybe something tells me that Chloe no le gusta la gasolina. Hi Doug! Hi Creative Minds! Congrats on first and second on YouTube. You know what? I will officially observe that on my spreadsheet. Apparently, so YouTube apparently will run adverts. It will run them automatically. I don't know how that works. So if anyone is watching on YouTube, just let me know what the viewer experience is like so I can tweak it for the future. A second and a third second. Hi Shackle and Mr. Ridos. It's true. Actually, I think Shackle was like properly third for once. Oh. Oh, I see. My display stopped being vertical. 1 second, I need to change that. Oh no, it's stuck in my head now. Alright. Portrait mode is set up. This stream is also live on Twitch, twitch.tv/Curiosity. You didn't know there are ads on YouTube? I didn't either, and I don't know what it looks like. I know that I used to have a button that the Stream Deck provided, which was to run an advert on YouTube. This is the first time I'm doing a live stream where I have monetization. It's time for a stream anniversary chat. So yeah, I'm gonna have my YouTube chat here, I'm gonna have OBS open here, and then whenever I open other things, I'll figure out as we go along. I need to post again on Blue Sky. And I'm actually going to post on my Facebook page for once. I don't really ever post there when I'm going live unless it's a big one. Live on YouTube too now. And yes, on YouTube and on here on streaming. Let me find one of these new so ironically the pork didn't appear, but Peacefire's now cheer did appear, but I have one that has nothing on it, so we're gonna use that one. Ha! See. I'm probably not gonna post this on Twitter, but I am gonna post it on Facebook. What's on my mind? I started streaming 1 year ago. YouTube.com/Curiosity. Come.
Johnson, get your ass
Come say hi. And I guess I'll copy my photo from Blue Sky.
Where is my money?
Yay. And I'm also gonna post on Instagram because it helps.
Get out of here.
Or at least that seems to be the place I get the most clicks from. So. Alrighty, taking a photo. Live on YouTube too. Let's go.
Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría y cosa buena. Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena A. Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría y cosa buena. Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena A.
Chloe gave up on that.
Como esta gente del igual sucks cream.
I don't know why Chloe discriminates against Votman, but this would have been how it should have gone. Dale a tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena, que tu cuerpo para darle alegría y cosa buena. Dale a Hello, Tessie, you did! Some people were flinging subs around earlier. I hope you love it. We also got new emotes today, which I hope you love and enjoy. My voice is quiet on YouTube. Why? La la la. Huh. That's interesting.
Chloe
because...
is taking over YouTube now. All shall bow
There
before
is-
Chloe's majesty. Give Chloe all the bread.
Huh. There is no reason it should be quiet on YouTube, so... VOD track? Could add a bit of gain to it. One second. Okay, is it better now on YouTube? I added some 5 decibels of gain to the VOD track. La 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 la. Testing, testing. Is this better? I don't. You shouldn't have. I also don't know. ¿Qué es lo que es YouTube? ¿Cómo está esa gente? Dale like y subscribe. Chloe's taking over. Wait, that one did not play at all. What is going on? Chloe is letting us down. I'm gonna send those through just in case.
Chloe is taking over YouTube now. All shall bow before Chloe's majesty. Give Chloe all the bread.
There we go.
Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría y cosa buena Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena, Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena que tu cuerpo es para darle alegría y cosa buena Dela tu cuerpo alegría, Macarena,
I don't know why this is beyond Chloe's abilities, but apparently that's a thing. I don't know. Sorry, you'll have to make do with my rendition of it apparently. Maybe it's too long. Hello, Music Cassette over on YouTube. Welcome in. Background music might be too loud now. Okay. I think I need to go to like the official page and then we can very quickly troubleshoot the sounds. Also apparently this is right when the adverts are going to start on Twitch, but
I mean, I don't think we get ad revenue on this channel anyway.
Hi Twitch! Hi YouTube! Thank you. Nice to see you. I'm glad we're revisiting all of the Spanish classics. Sorry, this is especially for you, Mr. Ridos. Mayonesa, ella me bate como haciendo mayonesa. Todo lo que me había tomado se me subió pronto a la cabeza. Mayonesa, ella me bate como haciendo mayonesa. No sé ni cómo me llamo, ni dónde vivo. Mateus, hello! Welcome in. Sorry, Music Cassette. Twitch was being chaotic. And I did say we needed to stop being chaotic for when I went live on YouTube. First of all, quick sound check. Do I sound okay on YouTube? Is the volume good? Can you hear me? Am I the right volume? I guess you would have to request that song for karaoke. Well, I feel like, I don't know. You could make Mr. Ridos' dreams and nightmares come true. You do listening on YouTube? Okay, good. If it does peak or is too loud, please let me know because I do. This VOD is gonna stay up on YouTube, so I want it to sound as good as possible. Okay, thank you. You're right where I need to be. Perfect. Chloe también suena bien. Wonderful. Perfect. YouTube background music a little bit too high. All right. I've edited that separately, so it's going to be lower on Twitch and on YouTube, but hopefully that's good. I don't want to be drowned out by the music, but I do want to have a little bit. Okay, how is it now? Okay. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I have to say, I don't know why that is. There is nothing in my setup. Actually, I can check. Ah, I know why. It's because my audience one has... Okay. I'm gonna give it the same gain. Alright. It's a lot louder now. Just FYI. On YouTube. And now I'm gonna just correct it a little. Okay, so it should be much more similar now. There we go. Apparently I had a huge... That explains a lot of things, actually. This has happened for a while. I just never bothered to look at it. The neighbors say hi back. Oh no, sorry. Well, okay. Good. Hello, Agus. Qué alegría verte de nuevo. Muchas gracias por pasarte. Hello, hello. Okay, I'll very quickly do quick hellos to everyone. YouTube, Doug, Creative Minds, Shackle, Mr. Ruido, Samantha, Music Cassette, Juan Pablo Esquivel, and Agus, which I'm assuming is Agustin. Thank you so much for being here. And also those of you who are over on Twitch as well, thank you, I appreciate it. So, if this is your first, I know I've seen your music cassette from my previous lives that I've done on YouTube. So for context, de Málaga, estupendo, yo soy de Sevilla, originalmente. So, I usually go live on Twitch 3 times a week. I do a mix of everything. Obviously today I'm going to try and do a little bit more science and, you know, the topic at hand. Hello Michael, welcome in. But I usually do... Sevillana y hablas inglés perfectamente. Sí. Sometimes I also go live on my second channel, which is at this point probably closer to a gaming channel, but it's really just a channel where I post all the things that wouldn't go on Dual Curiosity. So if you enjoy this kind of style today, you might enjoy the Twitch stuff in general. There is no obligation, but I like to put it out there. I did not expect that. I do remember you, because every time I've gone live on YouTube, you've always been here. And also, I feel like I have a good memory for names and usernames. So I'm like, I've seen that username. So yeah, today I'm gonna be reading both chats. If I happen to fall behind on any of them, feel free to just post the message twice or give me a ping, but the chat that appears on screen is on Twitch, because unfortunately it is against Twitch TOS to merge the chats together, and it's sort of like a joint anniversary. Today I streamed for the first time 1 year ago, and on the 5th of May, which would have been Monday, was my 9-year anniversary of posting on Dual Curiosity. My very, very first video went up then. Where am I living now in Spain? Unfortunately, not. I'm actually in Los Angeles right now. I've kind of been bouncing around a lot. So when I started Dual Curiosity, I lived in Oxford. I briefly moved back to Spain, and by briefly I mean like 1 month. Then I moved to Malaysia, which is where some of the videos from 2020 went up. Then I was in Singapore, and then I moved to Los Angeles. So kind of been everywhere. And you're so, I'm sure Soko say you're so welcome. I really hope you enjoy your sub, which comes with new emotes today. Also, theoretically, there are emotes on YouTube. I have set them to the lowest possible tier. If we get 4 memberships, technically, I can unlock more. There's also no obligation to do that, because I know I don't go live on this YouTube channel very often. But apparently, it is a thing. I finished my PhD. I did. I finished my PhD 6 years ago now. I handed it in on the 5th of October 2018. I defended it on Santa Ynez, which was the 21st of January 2019. And that was it. Doug! Oh my god, thank you. Ooh woo! We have a new YouTube member. I hope this is the $1 one. I've made everything to match the Patreon tiers, but I would just say, like, if you want to do anything on YouTube, just take the $1 one, because it helps me and it's the lowest cost to you. At least on YouTube, they let you pick the cost of the tiers, so yay! And that means, yeah, if we happen to get 3 more, then supposedly I can add more emotes. I'm not super familiar with how it works on YouTube. Also, if people enjoy this kind of stuff on YouTube, I could try and do more sciencey things. But what am I trying to do today? Oh! Serious? Thank you. Enjoy your emotes. Also, there is no obligation, like you can just have it for the month of the live stream. There is no obligation to hang on to it. It helps, but you know, do everything within your means. I'm always like Twitch and Patreon. I get other main ones that we do for that. Don't dox me. Oh, sorry. Sorry. I don't know what you're talking about. I'll edit this out afterwards. Did I end up going straight from undergrad to the PhD? I did actually. So I remember I interviewed for the BBSRC Interdisciplinary Bioscience Doctoral Training Partnership Program. Or my Insect Flight Biomechanics PhD for short. In my final year, I had only learned what a PhD was 2 months prior because no one cared to tell me what a PhD was. And then I got the offer and I was like, I don't want to move out of Oxford yet because that feels like a lot of logistics and I don't know what else I would do with my life. So I stayed on and I went straight from one to the other. One of the people who interviewed me before I knew he was on my interview panel was like, I don't think you should apply. Like many people have papers and a master's before they do. So I really feel like he was trying to discourage me from doing so. And then it was very awkward when he was on my panel. I was like, oh great, the person who told me I'm not going to get in is interviewing me. But he got shut down so hard. I remember the interview was I had to describe my research that I'd done during my undergraduate. And I remember he asked a question. I don't remember what it was, but it didn't really make much sense. And I was just kind of staring at him as he was asking this. And someone else on the interview table interjected and was like, if you'd been listening to her presentation, you would realize that your question doesn't make sense. So that was a nice vindication moment.
Thank you for the lurk,
Juan Pablo. Doing a PhD because you don't want to move on from academia where you were living. Who'd do that? I kind of knew academia wasn't for me, but I wasn't ready to go. Also, hi Aaron, welcome in. We're live on both Twitch and YouTube today. Get wrecked by head interviewer. Honestly, yeah, I'm not gonna say who it was, but there were quite a few stories about him. I don't know if he was just like salty because he hadn't been able to do that. It wasn't just me. Ironically, Sally and I were on the same program, and we also got the same, like, heard the same thing from him. And guess what? We both got on. We both got in, as did pretty much, well, actually, I was gonna say as did pretty much everyone. Actually, we were the only 2 people that I knew beforehand who interviewed, but we did get it.
Had to swing by the office to badge, back to the car to drive home. Drive safely, okay?
But anyway, sorry, that was a little preamble. But yes, I finished my PhD. I actually took an extra year to finish. I actually delayed by a year, so I should have, by right, finished in 2017. But things happen. And I guess it was just another example of me delaying the inevitable. So was it just he hated women in STEM thing? I genuinely don't know. It really felt like he might have had a personal vendetta. I don't know if it was a misogyny thing or just he felt like maybe he had to work harder to get in. I am purely speculating here. I just remember being very nervous. Also because right before my interview, I walked into the building and he was like, see you later. Like implying like, oh, I'm going to be your interviewer. And I was like, oh, great.
Hate that for me.
But it went fine. I got it. I remember when I got the email saying that I'd been accepted into the program with a full scholarship. I was so happy. I lived on Museum Road at the time. I actually think I had taken over your old room that year. Access. I remember running out onto Museum Road and running laps around university parks. Like I ran around the block twice. I was like, I got it! I did it! I don't have to worry about next year or funding or anything. It was a very exciting day. No one ever finishes a PhD on time though. Also true, and also the topic I was doing, because the thing I was doing was a 1 + 3 year program, and I was doing basically an engineering PhD, and no one ever does those in less than 4 years, so it didn't surprise me, but honestly the real reason was the moment I started my PhD, I got extremely severe OCD, and I was like, I don't really care about finishing the PhD, I kind of just want to be mentally well. So the first year I spent working on the mental health aspect, and then, you know, I just kind of started with a 1 year delay, so I ended up having to take extra time. You love university parks, you used to take a walk around there most lunch breaks when you worked in Oxford. I'm kind of missing uni parks. Oh, Macha Cake, hello, welcome, and it's good to see you. It's strange because I have like a lot of very fond memories in uni parks. I noticed where I ripped my pants that one time I was playing Ultimate Frisbee. I also broke into a Uniparks once at night because I wanted to see the Pasades meteor shower, and there is like a part where you can sneak in between the bars, and I went in with a little picnic blanket and lay down. Mateus! Oh my god, thank you so much for also becoming a member on YouTube, which I think means that with one more, supposedly, I can add 2 more emotes. Well, at least that's what my dashboard told me. I don't know what the progression thing is there, and again, anything that you do, do it within your means. Please, and I know I go live on Twitch way more than I do on YouTube, so like, do whatever makes the most sense for you, but thank you so much, that really means a lot. And I'm really hoping that this is a thing where, like, if we say one day just try and unlock everything and just leave it be, that it works. We really should catch up sometime when you're not streaming, but extra time in a PhD because of trying to keep one's mental health together really resonates. We should catch up, yes, and definitely off stream. But yeah, I don't think I know anyone who has gone through a PhD unscathed, although I kind of have to say, in my case, it was not PhD motivated, it was just ticking time bomb inside my brain. Undiagnosed bunch of stuff that then got diagnosed and fixed. And now I am in a much better place 10 years on. I love that they would put a barrier up around a path every year when the swans came back. I didn't know that they did that, actually. Oh my god, the other place I loved from Oxford was Port Meadows. Whenever I was, like, sad, because I lived in different parts of Oxford. I lived on Museum Road. That was one of my favorite places to live in undergrad. I lived in Jericho as a PhD student, and I lived kind of in the Iffley, Cowley area, which I feel is a rite of passage for any Oxford student. But I gotta say, like, Jericho's the posh area of Oxford, and St. John's had highly subsidized accommodation there. So that was one of my favorite places to live, and Jericho's very close to Port Meadow. So if I was ever, like, bummed out, I would go with my camera and my tripod to Port Meadows at night and just take photos of the stars.
Biological horror detected!
Elsie, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome, and how's it going? So yeah, I would go to Port Meadows at night, and I do remember once lying down and suddenly realizing that there was a cow next to me, and that was the story of how I almost died in Oxford. Not mental health reasons, not cheerleading, not any of the other terrible decisions that I made as a teenager and in my 20s. No, just lying down next to a cow that was grazing at night. Beautiful news to know you're in a better place now. Thank you. I'm also very glad. And in many ways, like, I was in a very bad place at the time, such that I think I seem so cheerful nowadays that I'm like, oh, literally anything is better than that. I'm like, oh, life is a blessing if I get to enjoy it to any slight degree better than it was. You like visiting Port Meadows to see the horses? We might see some photos of horses. So, sorry, let me get myself back on track. This is one of the things that does happen. Also, Michael, did you also become a member? Thank you. I just saw. It didn't appear. There we go. It appeared in the chat now. Thank you so much. I think this means we unlock stuff on YouTube. Also, I've been trying to learn how the emote stuff works on YouTube. So apparently you can't use it everywhere, but you can use it in my comment section and you can use it on live streams. If we enjoy the going live on Draw Curiosity thing, I can try and make it a monthly thing. But if not, it's probably going to be how I've done it so far, where like vaguely 4 times a year, like probably for my birthday, probably for the yearly thing. I know I did one for Halloween last year. I'm probably going to make a Halloween video this year, so I might just have like a dedicated science stream for something else. And for the Curiosity Drew Awards, which is a little community event I put on last year, and I really enjoyed it. So I'm going to do it again this year. You don't use emotes? That's true, I do remember you saying that. But I don't know. You might want to use them sometime. 4 of us now. Well, technically there's 5 because Dying Umbrella did join when I first. Bugs! Hello, Elsie. That is the best first time chat I have ever seen. And speaking of bugs, here are all of my bug-themed emotes. I know there's definitely more. I know there's a bunch of bee emotes, and there's the mantis emotes, and hopefully there'll be a few more insect emotes too. But what you see on YouTube is not always...
この番組はご覧のスポンサーの提供でお送りします。
Samantha! Thank you so much for gifting a sub over to Elsie! And Elsie, enjoy your emotes. I just realized, yeah, without a sub you would not be able to use them, except the follower ones. Thank you so much. This is so sweet of you! Music cassette. Oh, I mean, 5 years ago I was fine. I started my... I'm talking about 2013. 2013 was my dark year, actually. Things got better in 2014, and once I handed in the PhD, I had a year of being very salty. Because I don't know, I went through my phase of worrying whether I had wasted like my early 20s doing a PhD. I did not waste my early 20s doing a PhD, to be clear. But at the time, I felt I had, like the last 2 years were quite rough because I was working very hard to finish and I was doing the YouTube stuff as well. So I just didn't have much life outside of that. And I worried I had sacrificed like personal life for that. But everything is fine now. So 5 years ago, I was definitely very cheerful because I was free of the shackles of academia. Then I guess I had my 3-year getting over burnout period, but that actually was something that helped my mental health. And now we're here where I'm mentally thriving. Thriving less in other ways, but in the ways that matter. I think I'm doing well. Jedi! Hello, it's good to see you. Hello, Tossie. Welcome and good morning, Nathan. Chat things look so different minus glasses and plus butterflies. Don't you just hate it when someone polymorphs your accessories? Thank you for noticing, and I'm glad you like them. Yeah, the reason I started a little late on Twitch was I was trying to get the contacts in, and I was about to give up, but we got them in eventually. But also what you say, Music Cassette, is true. Like, obviously, what you see someone putting... I mean, I think I'm pretty authentic on Twitch, actually, or at least my friends have said, actually, this is quite close to what you're actually like. But, you know, what you do on the internet, right, is obviously a bit of a persona. You know, you don't share everything, and one shouldn't share everything. Like, there's definitely a delineation between private life and public life. But, and I know that sometimes I would, like, when I started Rhymes with Face, there were like a couple of early videos that are the very first 2 videos. I was very depressed at the time. I had a bit of a OCD relapse, and this was my way of trying to distract myself. But now I am, like, genuinely a very happy and cheerful person. You thought the butterflies weren't on screen? They are. So this is like a fun little science thing that I like to do. In fact, we are on the science channel right now, so let me explain. This is something called, I'm going to say it wrong, a point spread filter. Or point scatter function. I don't know. I always get the names mixed up. So on the front of my lens, it has a very wide aperture. You can make things like this, which change the shape of the aperture. So traditionally, your bokeh is a circle or like a hexagon, depending on the blades of the aperture. But I make it a little bit smaller by putting these filters that I make with a scalpel and cardboard. And I like making custom ones. So sometimes we've had the snails in the past. We've had the W from Draw Curiosity. Hello, Merlin, welcome in. Oh, the science expression is just, he's trying to hide her magical powers. A scalpel, how scientific. It is actually from my old dissection kit. What a pity my glasses are cute. I mean, the glasses will make an appearance on Twitch in the future, but I don't know. I like my eyes. I think I have big eyes, but they always look a lot smaller when I wear glasses. I was like, let's dress up today. But yes, so that's how it works. Usually you just see it in the ones at the back, but I saw an old clip where sometimes I've messed around with putting things in the foreground. Now, there is one extra weird thing about the optics of this. So if you look carefully, you'll see that this is upright and the ones in the background are upside down. And I'll zoom in so you can see better. This is one unfortunate quirk of this. The plane of focus is on my face. Everything in front is actually upside down. Everything behind is the right way up. And this is just the way optics works. So it works really well for things like this, which have radial symmetry and you can't really tell. But because these butterflies are so much more prominent, I actually have it upside down. If we decide that this gets too distracting or it starts blocking things in the way, I'll turn these off and I'll change it around. But this is like one of the little things that I like doing on my streams, and I think, I don't know, I think it adds a little personal touch. I was gonna do the W of Draw Curiosity, but I'm wearing like a little butterfly top, and you know me, I love bugs, so it felt like the right thing to do. Plane of focus. You're not playing at all. Oh, what's that? Another pun on the pun counter. And also thank you, Milanovich. I appreciate it. Why don't you rotate the aperture mask? I can do, but then if I rotate it, these ones will be upside down. So we have the ones at the back upside down, these ones. What would be really neat is if I could find some sort of motorized lens that would do it for me, but I don't think that exists. But this is my little rudimentary, silly little thing that I like doing, because like, I love photography. I love lenses. Actually, it was my PhD that got me into photography, because I would work on insect flight, so I had to be very good at high-speed photography and videography, which meant getting really technical with the lenses that we use, with synchronizing things, with understanding shutter speed, with understanding how to freeze motion. And so all of that together has now carried over to Draw Curiosity. They could be on the side. That's true, they could be at a slight jaunty angle. And also, if you look very carefully, you'll see that one of the wings is cut off, and that just means that I accidentally made it bigger than the actual plane of focus. I could do that. I am going to get myself, I'm just going to very quickly have another sip of water, so I could do that. And then I'll actually start with the properly programmed content that I vaguely prepared, which is, I wanted to talk about one of my biggest personal pet peeves that I've had with this channel is I have so many ideas and then I never get to make. I don't get to turn all of them into videos. So I want to talk about some ideas that I started doing and ended up scrapping in the past, some that I'm working on or that I know I'm going to make in the future. Just so you can have an idea of like a lot of the things that I've tried working on, and maybe to hear about things that people might be specifically very excited about, and maybe I can expedite that a little bit. Then there's in the foreground. That's true. Okay, we'll try that. 1 second. I need to go grab something, but I will be back properly. It will probably, the focus will probably not like this, just FYI, but I'm gonna put my little mantis here and hope for the best.
Shackle just redeemed drink water.
Sorry. I added... Oh no! My thing fell off. Oh no! The secret is revealed! That's my circular bouquet. Oh my. I walked past with too much flutter. But yeah, now you see how it works, right? When you have the light and the aperture, that's the shape that it takes on. And also, good thinking on that music cassette. I was like, yeah, I don't know. You're right that I sort of found myself sort of putting it in one direction. Hello, Catalyst Another. What's the most unhinged idea that never got finalized into a video? Very good question, and honestly, I feel like that's something that you as chat could tell me. There are two ideas which they are going to become videos. I just kind of want to make sure that I know they're going to perform well, but I think they would fit as such ideas. So one is, some of you might remember, I used to have super long hair. Objectively, it is already super long again, but by super long, I mean like down to here. And I cut the hair off and I have a photo with the braid, and I asked people to vote on how much they thought it weighed, and I think that form is still active. This is it if anyone wants to participate and you haven't. Oh, sorry, my butterfly fell off again. Let me put it back. Also because it's overexposed without it. One moment. It really doesn't want to be on today, huh? Oh my. Oh my. Oy. What if I want? Yeah. I made it yesterday, so it's not quite the right size for it. I feel like nothing compares to Nathan Fields to what is unhinged for Inace. I remember that was around, it was 2019, so actually coming up on 6 years. So that is, I could gaffer tape, but it's a very nice lens, so I don't want to glue stuff to it. It should be okay. I think it's because I got up and when I did get up, it sort of blew it away. If it folds off again, I have plenty of other ones that don't fall off as easily. But if you turn the butterfly on its side, the ones in the background would be facing the other way. That's true. I kind of liked Music Cassette's idea of it sort of looking like it's about to fly over me and these are maybe flying down to get some flowers, but if it looks wrong, I can change it up. So yeah, that's gonna be one. If anyone is Spanish, you might have seen I already gave a Naucas talk about it. So the video idea is going to be like an improved version of that Naucas talk because it's not constrained to 10 minutes. So that's one idea. I don't know if that counts as unhinged. Then there's one that I'm very excited about, which is called I Measured How Stressful My PhD Was. And I actually did some cortisol measuring tests right before handing in my thesis, like 3 days before, which I need you to know that I finished my thesis the day of hand-in. Like, this was not a finished product until 8 a.m. of the day it handed in. I pulled a 36-hour all-nighter to get it done. So I was very stressed. So I did some timed cortisol tests right before handing in and then a year after handing in and compared the results, and I managed to get a really cool interview with someone at Caltech who works on stress, so they interpreted the results for me. And I also have like lots of little vlog clips from the day that I did the tests, both like right beforehand and a year later. So I think that's going to be a fun video, and I don't know, it could be a slightly unhinged idea based on that. Alexis is stressed just hearing about this. I am so sorry. Honestly, I think a lot of people were stressed for me because I am the sort of person who unfortunately really thrives with a deadline, but that is not the case for most people. Cortisol logger PhD would make a great video. So that, technically, science video I never made, in that it's been sitting in my drafts for 6 years at this point. But it is something I want to do. I think it's more that for this hair video and for the stress video, I just kind of want to have a track record of several videos doing really well. Like the B-movie one that I just posted actually did very well. And I'm working on another one right now, which also, be proud of me. This might have not been a smart financial decision, but I hired an editor so that I can just send the video off and then I'll have something to work on. Like, I'm finally trying to delegate the tasks that I am not good at and that kind of no longer bring me as much joy as they used to, because I like editing, but I don't like doing the rough cuts because I've already written the script. I've recorded it, right? So when I'm doing the rough cut, I'm just watching myself do the whole thing again, and I just get really stuck. You think it's super cool that it's an effect? You thought it was like a transparent image in OBS with low opacity? Nope, it is real things. Honestly, it is really just me flexing how big the aperture on this lens is, but theoretically you can get this to work as long as the shape of the hole is smaller than the aperture it's set to. You can replicate this, and there are ways of exaggerating the bokeh. So the more separate I am from the background, so if I were to do this, you'll see that the butterflies in the background get a little bit bigger. And because of how I set this up, there's also a bigger distance between the focal plane of me and where these lights are, which is why they look so big and why I think the effect looks extra cool like this. Theoretically, I could also just turn off the ones in the back and then we don't have to deal with it being upside down, but I kind of, you know, I'm a YouTuber. I like the fairy light effect, so they're back. You want stress tests? I mean, to be they weren't blood tests, they were the saliva ones, because I did actually think that blood tests would stress me out more. There are things to be said about whether cortisol tests, saliva ones, are super accurate or not, but I did 5 of them timed throughout the day, so I actually do have a cortisol curve. It's very interesting for whenever I get to post it. Caffeine milligrams per day. Carlos Zanotto, I actually survived my entire PhD without drinking coffee because I don't like coffee. And I have insomnia, so my issue wasn't staying awake. My issue was I would stay awake too long. Like, I would work till 4 a.m. because I just couldn't fall asleep. I think ADHD needs a deadline to not infinitely procrastinate. Yes. Now I have Adderall. Now I've been, you know, officially diagnosed and medicated for it. But at the time, I was very much a relying on anxiety person, except then when I finished my PhD, I was like, none of the work I'm doing is that important that I need to be this stressed out about it. So I refuse to do all-nighters again for work, which is why Dropcast doesn't have as many videos as it used to. But now I have Adderall, and that's kind of helped. And now I'm trying to get back to where I was, where hopefully I'll be able to finance hiring people to do things for my thing. Because everyone who's successful on YouTube kind of has a team, because it's really hard to do everything yourself. There was no Skylar back. Hello, it's good to see you, and thank you, Music Cassette. In a series, I think called Students Coffee Use Mocha, make coffee, then swap the water in the tank with the coffee you just made. I probably did have a lot of tea though, because I did live in the UK, and that is the prime way of socializing with people in the UK. But no, at the time, I don't think I even had time to like make coffee. Like I'm saying, I was glued to my chair, tap 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 tap, and getting things done. I had this like little Gantt chart of this is when I have to be done by this chapter, this chapter, this chapter. I wrote my entire PhD in Word. I know most people do LaTeX. My biggest flex is I'm actually good at Word. And by that, what I mean is, you know those memes that people make about like when you move an image and your whole document messes up? That's never happened to me because I know how to use Word. And if you know how to use Word, that doesn't actually happen. Unfortunately, most people don't know how to use Word. And it's not super intuitive how to avoid that. So I actually did my PhD in Word and I didn't have those issues. So then I finished at 8 a.m. instead of, I actually planned for things to go wrong and I thought I was gonna like be cutting it to the very, 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 very edge of time. And then I was like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm good at Word even on no sleep. Me neither, you see, exactly! Samantha and I on the same page right here. Oop, random alarm. And use, hello Racco, welcome in. Sorry, I'm like reading 2 chats here, so I will get to everybody. Also, thank you Skylar for appreciating the nails. I do like them. I realized that I actually forgot to, usually I have this one short for practical purposes. I completely forgot to ask this time. And I also didn't realize for like a good 2 days. So I guess I've finally mastered having the long nails. But I think I probably will get it back for practical purposes. She has big aperture energy. I just like a good bokeh, okay? Use f2.4 wanting to get over f1.4, f1.8. Depending on how much background, so if it's a very wide angle lens, you'll probably want f1.4 for this kind of effect. If it's slightly longer lens and further away, like there are other ways of enhancing bokeh. Like the first one, low aperture. The second one, longer lenses get better bokeh. And the third one is having a big distance between you and the background. So, you know, that's a wall that's a few steps away. I could, like theoretically, I could move my desk even further this way and create an even bigger distance and it would be more dramatic. But then I would be taking over the entire lounge. Which I guess means I'd be able to write off more of my rent on my taxes, but would also encroach on my living space. Oh my god, Becky, look at that aperture.
Is that a lens or are you just happy to see me?
No, that's what Matteo said. Great minds. I'm gonna count that for me and also for you. The Tibity's tap sound that long nails do while typing would make me go mad. Well, I have a very flat keyboard and I type like this, so I don't get the clack clack from the nails. I also saw one of these devices that you can put on top of a keyboard that will make it extra tall so you can type with long nails without them clacking at the bottom. But they do get in the way of other things. Like, I've been doing long nails for about a year now, so I've managed to conquer most of the long nail challenges, but there's still like the odd thing like changing keychains and keyrings. That's not something I can do with these nails.
Alternatively, this is witchcraft.
Burn her! No! My butterflies will protect me. The editor might be a smart financial choice. That's what I'm hoping. It's probably not going to be in the short term, but hopefully in the long term it will be. And ideally that means I'll be able to make more videos, because whether it be that I hire an editor to edit more stuff and I have more time to... Actually, what I'm going to be doing, so the next video that's going to come out is about this color, I don't know if anyone saw that paper that came out about people who've seen a color that doesn't exist and that they were able to trick the brain into seeing it. I made a video about that, and I managed to score an interview. Moonchild! Hello!
Moonchild beats Cheered X100. Happy 1 year on Twitch.
Thank you so much for the well wishes, and thank you so much for the 100 biddies. How are you? It's so good to see you. Also, there are new emotes today, by the way. Just if you wanna see them.
Immediately gets distracted.
Here they are. Lots of people see a color that doesn't exist. They call it green. Oh no. We found that. I know you're colorblind, I know. It's okay, Iris is getting fun to do some tax fraud. I'm not trying to get myself in trouble in my last year in the US. Racco says you think you use caffeine to self-medicate during some of your PhD years. I mean, after a certain point, I think, you know, the body can only handle so much. But aside from tea, I would not drink coffee. So, and I don't know, actually, I tried coffee at one point after my PhD and I had a nap right afterwards, so it didn't work. Design is your passion and sparkling word art. I didn't do any word art in my PhD. Racco also wrote his own word. Okay, that makes me feel better. Technically, I should have learned latex, but I think it's more of an achievement that I wrote an engineering-ish PhD in Word. Sorry, I'm catching up on both. Boki doki. That was a good pun, actually. You like it for the precise and problematic nature. It is kind of a pain. Like, I actually think it's more of a pain than Word. So there's a threshold, like if you're writing something very mathsy, it makes sense to use it. In my case, I don't know. Maybe Spanish education had two things that were really good. They taught me immunology, and they taught me how to use Word really well. That reminds me, I have to ask you about the next video. Well, it is currently in the hands of an editor now. So when that is ready, then you'll be able to do the audio. You're doing good. You're on your lunch. I was going to say, is today your day off or is it a lunch break? But thank you for popping in. I really appreciate it. Lexus ends up using it for basically anything they can. Tutorial sheets. I mean, hey, if you're good at it, people should use what they're good at. I'm just saying that I only knew how to use Word when I started. Sorry, checking YouTube chat as well. Oh, that's the opposite. You type almost perpendicularly to the keycap. Well, I used to be someone who could not stand long nails at all, but after a month of having long nails, I got used to it. And actually, it was pretty impressive because I did travel. I did go on safari late last year, which will also be amongst like ideas that I'm working on. And I remember because I didn't want to deal with traveling and having long nails because something happens to them. It can be a bit of a hazard and there's no guarantee I could get them fixed there. So I did have short nails there. And the first 2 days, I was completely unable to type on my phone or on a keyboard because my brain had already remapped where my finger is supposed to go when I'm typing. Because I guess my brain would sort of look at the end of the nail and just know approximately what position it has to go at. So then I was just typing at an offset. And it was very impressive, the sort of malleability that the brain has when it comes to that. And it really but it also, after 2 days, it was back to normal again. But then it was also a lot easier to switch back to long nails. So you can get used to it. I'm not saying that you should get gel extension nails. Just, you know, the brain is plastic and incredible. Whenever you do your nails, you always keep your pointers and middle fingers short because it drives you crazy to type with long nails. I probably, especially once it starts growing out, this one will probably become short because I have clipped it on a bunch of things, which means that my brain knows deep down that this is the short finger and everything else is longer. And again, the brain works in wonderful, mysterious ways, and the fact that it has autopiloted how to work with long nails after being someone who couldn't do long nails for ages, very strange. I think latex is good in helping you structure your text. Am I going to be at open source? I really, really want to be, but I didn't get invited. So if I somehow get a ticket, because I am not buying a ticket, I am not going to VidCon. I might go to TwitchCon. I do have plans to go to TwitchCon. I have booked a hotel already, and if it makes financial sense, I will go. But I don't think I can justify buying a ticket for open source and traveling up to SF. So if magically they invite me, then I'll figure out accommodation maybe. But otherwise, I don't have plans to. Also, open source is on my birthday, or like it's the weekend before my birthday, which is not necessarily a problem, but it is close to my birthday. You should apply as a creator. I thought they'd already... Is there? I thought they had already... maybe if you're able to send me that information. I don't know if you're in... I don't know if you're in the Discord server or not, but there should be a link in here for it. If you're able to send that to me, that would be great. I saw people already like put up as featured creators because I know like a lot of people I know are going to be open source. And some of them have been official featured creators, others are unofficial featured creators, so I just assumed that had already been figured out and it's probably too late for me to apply for that. If I can, sure, I'll go. I just don't want to spend money on it. Hello, Waltress, welcome in. Writing a PhD in Word is more impressive simply because at that point it must become harder. Again, I was very good at Word, but I was also proud of my Word prowess. Coffee Black is potato ruler site. You wrote your bachelor thesis in Word, but it was all wordsy words. I mean, also if there's no equations, it is easier to write it that way. That information actually answered your question. Okay. Yes. The brain works is mysterious and important. I'm glad you enjoyed all of those facts equally, Shekel. Your brain refuses to devolve computational effort to manage movement when not 100% on it, which is a fancy way of saying clumsy. I mean, I actually think I don't think I'm dyspraxic, but I'm a little bit clumsy, to be honest. I started doing pole dancing and cheerleading and dance in an attempt to sort of get better at my fine and gross motor control, and it did work. But also, I mean, truthfully, I did this for the aesthetics, and usually I don't do things for the aesthetics. I'm usually very much a practical, over everything else kind of person, but then I adapted to it, and I was like, okay, we'll keep doing it. Oh, I've been visited. Is that a fly or a mosquito? It's a fly. Okay. Well, a mosquito technically is a type of fly, but it's not gonna make me itchy. Birthday con. I mean, that could be fun, but I think the one I will try and go to this year is TwitchCon. And like I said, I already booked a hotel preemptively that I can cancel up to the day before. So at least I booked it before prices go up even further because San Diego is crazy. Pink isn't on the spectrum. Yes. And actually, you can't really tell, but again, this is not real. Those are two, that's a blue LED and a red LED superimposing with one another. Now, do we know? Hello, speaking of other science streamers. Pole dancing. Yeah, it's a very good way of, I went to my first pole dance class in months yesterday. So I am now, well, actually, I'm someone who gets the delayed onset muscle soreness happens a little bit later for me. So probably this evening, I'll be suffering. I have the bruises already. But yeah, it's a fun sport and very, very good for the muscles. To be fair, everything we're watching on screens is a compound of multiple colored light sources to form a metaphor. But yes, what I was talking about, I am making a video about this new color that was seen. I managed to get not one, but 2 interviews with the both lead co-authors. So even if other people have made videos about it, because I've been kind of slow getting the video out, it will have things that other videos don't have. So I'm very excited for that one. That's probably going to be the next one that comes out. I'm also working on a video about some of the strongest biological and organic materials to avoid giving away much more. It would have been much more impressive for you to have equations in it. Our students did it. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you can see like Greek students and algebra students shaking hands over using Greek letters for absolutely no reason. Anyone would be able to tell the difference. The fact magenta doesn't have a wavelength. Yes. All of that will be in this future video. This one, I guess, is not technically a science video I never made because it is in the making. But after I dawdled on the rough cut for 2 weeks, I just found someone who would edit it for me. And I delivered those files last night, so... and I still have to do my own editing, like I'm gonna do all the B-roll and the animations, because I think that's a bit much to ask from someone else. But that will be the next one, and I'm curious to see how that one will do, because the B-movie one did extremely well. Like, 1 in 3 people who watched that video watched the whole thing from start to finish. Most people watched like 75% of it. So I'm trying to figure out if it's just the algorithm. Did they notice me just this one time? Will it happen again with this next video? Also, the B-movie one is like popular culture, and that was a lot, you know, it's a much more palatable video. This one's got much heavier science concepts in, even though I've tried to add a few jokes. So I'm curious to see how that will do, because I think that will tell me whether it means I need to work really hard on scripts to make sure that they're funny and have enough like funny jokes in between, that it keeps people watching even through the trickier explanation parts, because that seems to be the key thing. YouTube likes it when people watch the whole thing and then they're like, oh, okay, this video is good, we'll promote it to more people. So depending on how that video does, if it does the same as B-movie, I'll be delighted. it might be finally like I escape the YouTube hole. But chances are it probably won't do that well. So if it doesn't, it probably means I need to work harder on my scripts. If it does really well, then it means I don't have to be like top-level comedian in my scripts, and instead I'll be able to write more of them and make more videos. So that's sort of where I'm at with my YouTube testing. You're one of those, you watched on the couch with a friend who's obsessed. Thank you for watching it! Actually, the number of people who found me on Twitch independently and were like, oh wait, I saw that video about the bees. Weirdly enough, it actually has a very low click-through rate. Like, I think people are over B-movie now. But the people who watched it, like, were all united in how much they don't like B-movie. You get the delayed onset soreness too. I mean, everyone does, but it's usually like 12 to 48 hours afterwards, and I'm kind of around the 36-hour mark, so Saturday will be fun. And to be fair, I mean, I woke up this morning with like, I could feel like I had exercised, but I think it's much more the sort of bruises, because pole is a mixture of you're using your muscles, you're also, you know, putting yourself against a hard surface, which is going to bruise, like, I don't know if you can see, but I have a tiny bruise there because I tried some shoulder mounts and stuff. You didn't realize you did all the animations and stuff? Oh, well, thank you. I didn't do my intro animation. That was someone I hired at the very, very start, but all of the actual B-roll and the little animations I do, some of the, like the little animations in the Why Are Bees So Fuzzy, where there's like a cockroach and like a bee flying, we actually animated those on stream. So I do generally try and do them myself. I can't do them for every video because I burn out. It takes a long time. So I've got to like alternate between videos that require animation and ones that don't require as much, so that I don't know. Gotta appeal to the ADHD, basically. Hello, Mike Stevenson, welcome in. Will I be making a video for Answer a Bug's Life similar to the B-movie video? I could do. So I've had a lot of requests from people for me to do stuff like that. The B-movie one was originally an April Fool's one. And what I'll say is, like, one of the most important things for me is I like to try and keep my videos positive. So I don't want to go down the, like, CinemaSins route where I'm just trashing movies. I know that Bug's Life is a lot more accurate in general. So I probably won't have as much to say in a negative way. A raid! Hello!
Old Man Thelonious raided my stream with 8 viewers.
Old Man Thelonious, thank you so much for the raid. Feel free to tell me real quick, what were you up to on stream? Thank you so much for raiding in. Thank you so much for bringing your lovely community over here. And here's a little shout out. I sometimes like in your streams. You're always up to something fun. Today we are live on both Twitch and YouTube, and I have about 3 hours to do as much as I can of what's in the title. So everyone's watching. Low click-through with high retention is good for the video performance, you think? Obviously we want more. That's true. Interesting, Skylar. The watch time, like the audience retention, was higher for non-subscribers than subscribers. So I was actually like, oh, I got let down by my subscribers. No, because usually it's the other way around. Like your subscribers will watch as much
a lot of your video, and people who just stumble upon it, watch a little bit and go away. So this was the first time that it's happened the other way around. Like I think it said like average view time of 7 minutes from subscribers, and then it shot up to 13 minutes from people who had been recommended the video. Also, this was the first time that I had a video recommended to an audience that was, usually it's recommended to mostly men. This time it was recommended to mostly women, which was a first. And I had a lot of very queer-friendly comments. So I was like, oh, maybe I finally broke out into a different corner of YouTube, and I'm also into that. But to answer Mike's question, I could be open to doing that, especially, you know, if people enjoy the B-movie format. But I would probably be very cautious about wanting it to still be positive. Like I don't, because another thing that never became a video, I was considering making a video about the direwolves, which came out. I have a very critical
Oh, biological horror detected.
plain toast, no jam. Thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How's it going? And I will catch up with all the raid messages in a moment as well. I'm just trying to juggle multiple chats at the same time today. So yeah, I never made a direwolves video, but I did talk about it on Twitch. And again, the reason why was I was very critical of it, and I just didn't feel like it was going to quite bring. It would be more in the controversial than like positive space, which again would probably do better on YouTube, so I guess maybe I should have done it. But you know, principle over over capitalism, something like that. Your scrubs for work just arrived. Congrats, Jedi. Jedi just started a new job. I'm very excited for you. Does yellow have a wavelength, or is it just that wavelength affects our eyes in the same way, a combination of blue and green? Well, there is a wavelength for yellow. If you have a tunable laser, there is one for yellow. So you could say the next video has some light tone. I see what you did there, Merlin. Like every color we see, light hits our eyes and our brain interprets it as a color, like when people claim the sky isn't really blue. I mean, yes, there are wavelengths of light and they excite the cones in our eyes in different ways, but also there are different wavelengths that when combined together, they form colors that they wouldn't otherwise. Be careful if you must break any part of the stream setup. Don't let it be the streamer. I will be careful. I've actually never injured myself doing pole. I have had injuries, but they've never come from pole. So I'm actually very, very careful. I didn't use wrist guards yesterday, but if I start doing pole dance consistently, I will probably, you know, I know what things to wear to prevent injury. Welcome in, Raider. Sorry, missed what video? The B-movie video? Yes, I was talking about the everything wrong with B-movie that I made for April Fools. A nice bro containment. Welcome in, Plain Toast No Jam. Okay, you were a Raider. I wasn't sure if you came in with Old Man Players kicked off your Feminism Friday streams again. Talked politics, men's health, and video gaming culture. Started an online course on EDI and Indigenous reconciliation on stream. That's amazing. Well, we already gave the shout out, but if you are not following Old Man Felonious, this sounds like an excellent programming for Fridays. Also very random and slightly off topic, but vaguely on topic to what you just said. Have you watched Thunderbolts? I'm actually very curious if you have. And if you haven't, I think you would like it. Because I think they have very good, strong female lead, but also they have a very good depiction of, you know, men being vulnerable and men being vulnerable in mental health ways, and I liked what they did with that. We are wrong sex. No. Inés tells other male views they're the wrong sex. YouTube algorithm. Maybe we shouldn't show this. Oh no. You know, the funny thing is, one of the shorts went viral for it as well. But the reason it went viral was because people were looking for adult content on YouTube. Like, all of the search terms were terms that would indicate to me that someone was looking for raunchy content that is not the sort of content you would find on YouTube. But it was from a country where that sort of explicit content is banned. So I guess they would turn to YouTube to try and find it. So I guess they would have been sorely disappointed
in my short and my video. Hair pole is brutal. You can't imagine doing pole because you're very bottom heavy. It will just make you stronger. Although, I mean, having a low center of gravity was probably helpful. You saw Tiezu's little piece on direwolves. It was lighthearted and mimetic, but ultimately did get across the notion that it isn't really the reverse of extinction. I didn't realize Tiezu had made one, but I saw that Hank Green had, and I figured, you know, 2 of the biggest science channels have already covered it, so I don't know if I can necessarily add too much extra. I might make one for when they inevitably have some sort of big press release for the mammoths, because I'll probably still have my opinions on it, and that will give me more time to try and find a lighthearted way of talking about it. You're all like, so that's not good because of physics? I mean, they'll look graceful though. You've not seen it, but you hear good things about it, because Circa, who was here earlier, and another friend of mine both worked on the movie. So I went to go support their work, and then we were all like, oh, this was actually shockingly good, because, you know, a lot of people who work on the movie don't know the whole story. So I'm glad I had the excuse to go see it, because it genuinely was. I really liked it. You are here. Welcome back, Juan Pablo. Do the companion video. Everything right with B movies. B's are black and yellow at the end. Black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow, black and yellow. I suppose I could do something like that for the following April Fool's Day. Hello, PJ! It's PJ Forming from Nelly. Congrats on 9 years. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you. That actually made me so happy to see your name here. How are you doing? PJ was always in my DMs helping me out with sponsors and stuff, which also, yeah, my other reason for trying to get my videos to do better is so I can hopefully negotiate. I would like to have sponsors again, but I also would like to have the sponsor like actually cover the costs that I put into making videos. I guess mandatory plug for Twitch subscriptions and YouTube memberships and Patreon subscriptions for anyone who wants that. Oh no, Moonchild, thank you so much for hanging out here. Thank you so much for the lurk. I really appreciate it. Lots of men are looking for the wrong sex. I was gonna make that joke, but I was trying to be as good as possible on the main channel. Because again, on Twitch, I feel like I can be a little bit, you know, like the audience I have on Twitch, I know everyone is an adult, or should be, anyway. So I'm cool with talking about more adult topics, but the YouTube channel, I do want to make sure is appropriate for all audiences, because I do also know that, you know, teenagers and people watch my videos with kids, etc. So I don't want that to become an issue. I am also going to tie my hair back, because I live in Pasadena now, and it is hot today, so you're gonna have to deal with the fact that I'm growing out my undercut, and it's like I have 2 hairstyles in one, but we're just gonna handle it. You just checked the numbers on B movie, 70k. Oh, did it make 70? It was at 69k yesterday. Nice. It's definitely slowed down quite a lot, but it did like jump up in numbers, which was again exciting. This hadn't happened in a long time, admittedly, because I hadn't posted anything. So it's good to see that. I was like, oh good, I see the algorithm in action. It made you think of Majora's Mask Giant. You're out here dunging. Don't worry, I've not said any spoilers. I'm just saying it's good and you should watch it. Still several years behind on MCI stuff and determined to catch up on all of it before. And yes, I'm also kind of excited for Fantastic Four. What kind of sponsor would fit my content? Well, I am with Nebula. So Nebula does primarily work with educational content creators. I've done a lot of brilliant sponsorships. I know what my dream sponsor would be. I would love to be sponsored by Insta360 because I have some really cool ideas for vision. And I have an Insta360 camera, and I want to use that to sort of illustrate some of those things. And I think they would be a really cool sponsor. So that's like my dream sponsor. Again, a lot of people who watch me are sort of similar in age to me, maybe a bit older. I feel like we're all tech nerds, so I feel like any sponsor that's IT or technology or photography would also be a good fit, I think, just based on like the things that I normally talk about and what I see people like when people introduce themselves. A lot of people seem to be engineers of some variety. You're jealous of my hair? Thank you, I think. I do seem to have, you know, of all the things, I'm not tall. There's not much of me, but I maxed all the hair points out. But yes, I'm still trying to figure out what's going to happen with this, because this is my favorite short length, this is my favorite long length, and at some point I'm going to have to make the two lengths match. So, but I don't know yet how I'm going to do that. I'm still trying to read both Everything Wrong with Gasolina by Daddy Yankee, Humans Can Drink Gas, Totally Wrong. I think it's a euphemism, but yeah. Should be an adult is definitely an accurate description of this viewer and of this streamer. Finished a PhD 6 years ago. For what? OMG, right, it's so hot. Not about Pasadena, but just a bit north of that. We're already in the 90s. It was 95 yesterday. I finally learnt my Fahrenheit. 35 Celsius for those who use proper units. And I think it's in the 90s today. My problem is, so my house was in the area, Pasadena, like northern Pasadena was affected by the wildfires, and a lot of smoke got into my place. So my vents definitely have asbestos and lead, and I haven't been able to find someone to clean out my HVAC. Until I do that, I am not using central heating or central AC, and now that it's getting hot, I'm getting scared about that latter part, because today is the first day that I'm actually like a little bit hot in the stream chair. Like, I've done everything I can to sort of keep the heat out, like blackout curtains, and, you know, kind of keeping the windows closed during the day and curtains over so that the heat won't form a greenhouse effect, but it is starting to get hot. So I should really get on that, but they're not cheap. California is the most price gouging place in that sense. We're all here in this world to serve the machine gods. Honestly, it is true that I don't love how much I have to sort of bow over to the algorithm. Because admittedly, Draw Curiosity is... I am attempting to make a living out of my hyperfixation so I can thrive doing something that I enjoy and that I think I'm good at, and that will also appeal to other people who have the same silly little hyperfixations as me. Part of the long-standing tradition of eating the strange little thing, they made sourdough bread from a... I think I've missed something in chat here. But I'm gonna keep... I'm pretty sure they just taste like an Egyptian mummy. I was like, I'm reading a combination of words that I'm not sure if I'm allowed to read on stream or not. The other day it was the 80s and I was back down to the 70s. Window units. Yeah, well... The problem is... And again, I don't want to, like, give too much information about my living situation, but I don't have windows in that sense. Like, they're sort of like door windows. They're like big. So a window unit wouldn't quite fit. I do have a ton of fans and I could turn them on, but then you're gonna hear them here. So usually fans and spritz bottles is how I make do. That's what I did in Malaysia, because I remember I managed to negotiate not paying for electricity, which is maybe a very weird thing to negotiate. But basically I said if I spend under a certain amount on electricity, because it was a shared meter with the upstairs neighbors, and they were a whole family and I was one person. So I was like, if I spend more than this amount, sure, I'll cover it. The whole thing. And I knew how much the electricity would be, and I'm just one person, and I was like, I'm not going to use the AC, so I'm never going to go over the limit. So I was hell-bent on like using my marble floors, having a fan, and spritzing myself with water, and I survived a whole year in a tropical country with no AC. Do I recommend it? No. Was I very good for the environment that year? Yes. And did I pay for electricity? No. you start losing the ability to function. To be fair, the UK, because the buildings are designed to keep the heat inside, it's especially nasty indoors. Like, I remember the greenhouse effect of living in Oxford on the rare hot sunny day of the year was pretty untenable. Here it's kind of the opposite. It's easy for it to be too cold. Fans and spray bottles reminds me of being a child in the countryside. You know, actually, I think that is... I didn't grow up in the countryside, but my parents... I mean, I grew up in Spain, right, in Seville, where there's a lot of drought, and, you know, my parents started from the bottom and then went, you know, just started earning a bit more money, so they, you know, were like, money doesn't grow on trees, we've got to conserve electricity, etc., and the water bill, and so forth, so we weren't allowed to have the AC on for as long as maybe would have been wise in Spain. And yes, the A in HVAC does maybe stand for asbestos. If I can get you cranking out videos twice a month, it would be amazing. I'm sure it'll take off even more. That's what I would very much like to do. If I am making 2 videos a month, I definitely need an editor. Which, again, like I said, I found someone to help me edit. I just kind of need to make more than it costs for me to produce videos, which, like, honestly, right now, I don't make enough to cover my rent or everything, so I am kind of operating off a little bit of savings and, like, doing jobs off YouTube as well. But I would like it to get to the point where we get back to where we were, which is also why I want the numbers to go up so I can get sponsored again. Qué bien, Sevilla en verano con 45 grados a la sombra, sin AC count me out. I don't know how I did it. I mean, I am pretty resilient to the heat. Like, give me a hot day over a chilly day anytime, but yeah, in hindsight, it's rough, and also my tolerance for extreme temperatures has gone down as I have gotten older, so I think I just had superpowers as a child. This is one of the PhD supers was a Spaniard who did not understand what was... Excuse me. I don't know if you're referring to me. But I've definitely been that person where I'm like, oh yes, 30 degrees. Actually, I think I once remarked in Spain that the ideal temperature, I just remembered saying, this is the perfect temperature right now. And then there was like a thermometer, the indicador de partículas. They have like these big thermometers with the time in the middle of the city. And it said it was 39.3 Celsius. It was dry heat though. Don't give me that in humid heat. You've been packing and packing, we've organized a lot of stuff recently. It's been surprising to see how many things you own. I think, you know, I've been doing the same, but in my sense, in a much more scared way, because I actually own so much stuff here in the US, and at some point I've got to move all this stuff out of the country, and I don't know how I'm going to do that. But it is nice to see lore and memories building up. It's not just about the temperature, it's mostly the wet bulb temperature. Exactly. And what I like about dry heat is my body doesn't have to do anything to stay warm. And the dryness means that if I sweat, it immediately evaporates. So I don't have the, like, I'm sticky feeling. Malaysia and Singapore were both very humid. But actually, I kind of enjoyed the humidity as well. It was good for the skin. It started with the comment about someone... You're heading to the gym for a while. Happy multi-anniversary. Urmacha, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much for popping in. UK buildings aren't going to adapt well. Yeah. Honestly, with climate change, I slightly dread the living situation in the summer for people. Your cooling methodology sounds remarkably similar to the process of curing prosciutto. Good pork reference. Oh, thank you, Shekel, for all the Patreon things. Sorry, I'm very behind on chat once again. Inez isn't a human, she's just a reptile, or at least warm-blooded. I have had people say that, because I'm also very squirmy. I did martial arts and wrestling for a very brief period of my life, and I was very, very, very squirmy. So people would say I was like a reptile, because of how I would like bend and suddenly Houdini myself out of a grip. Oh, you're one of those hurt lovers. Are we saying I'm a hot lover? Team cold and cozy for life. I wish I was, but look, I tried to do 9 years in the UK and it just did not work out for me. I hated the cold every single year even more. Hello, Alex D. Rockhound, new phone hoodies. I don't know, you tell me, who are you? Welcome in, Alex. It's good to have you here. Thanks for popping in. Unless that is... No, that's not an accent. Isaac made all his own comments about how miserable the weather was over here. Oh, well, Alexis... Oh, okay. You know, I've never met Isaac, but I've heard so much about him. I've heard so much about him from all of the other students. And that we can agree hot, dry summer is better. Yeah, but now I've adapted to both. And at some point, I've got to go back to Singapore. So I guess I better get used to humid heat again. But can she lick her own eyeballs? Not with my tongue. I could do that, but I'm not going to do that. I just healed a sty in my eye. We're not going to give myself another one. Not UK cold, more like Spain cold with sun. I mean, you know, Seville is nice in March. It can sometimes be 30 Celsius. It's fine. As temperatures increase, the UK will eventually adopt air conditioning as a standard part of buildings, which will accelerate the rise in temperatures, thus ensuring more people adopt air conditioning. I mean, in general, I always advocate for people in the UK, buy a fan or some AC during the off season, because you're going to want it when it's hot, but then no one ever wants to buy it when it's hot because they think it's just going to be hot for one day and that it's not going to be worth it. So get it when it's cheap. How many countries have you lived in? I've lived in 5 countries. I grew up in Spain. I studied in the UK. I lived for 1 year in Malaysia and 1 year in Singapore during the pandemic, like late 2019 to late 2021. I lived there, and now I live in Los Angeles, and then I will move back to Singapore in not a short distant future, but also not like a long distant future either. It will happen at some point. Oh yes. Well, yes, I guess, okay, for those of you who are in YouTube chat and aren't on Twitch, if you enjoy this kind of vibe and you want to, I recommend following on Twitch or on the other channel, Rhymes with Face, because that's usually where I do my multi-streams too. So I go live 3 times a week and we do a variety of different things. But every so often I'm like, I miss doing this on actual Draw Curiosity. Imagine it's just casually taking out her lens and licking that for emphasis. I had so much trouble getting the contact lens in that I will not be doing that. But sometimes you have to commit to the bit, so we never know. As a Dutch E30 in March is insane. Well, welcome to climate change and Seville being in a valley and also at the forefront of climate change, I guess. The brief pause between not with my tongue and the demonstration was a strange and... Hello, Rebel, welcome in. Thank you. Today's my official anniversary from when I hit go live on Twitch for the first time. How much are we behind the content we intended to do today? 2 hours. So we should probably get onto that. I guess I did talk a little bit about some of the videos that I'm going to do. So we did a little bit. I'm trying to think, let's see. Okay, video ideas that I have totally scrapped. I actually went to CERN in 2017 and like I recorded a vlog there. But then here's the problem. There's 2 formats for me to record videos. One is I collect a ton of footage and then I try and turn it into a story. That can sometimes be fun, but it takes so much more time because I got to sort the footage and I got to turn it into a story. I got to time it, and there's a lot of back and forth. And it is one of my least favorite formats to do now, just because I know it will take me forever, and I somehow never have the time to do it. So the CERN trip, I was very proud. I got like a really cheap flight to Switzerland and I got to stay in their dorms, which were like 40 a night. So it was a very budget trip, but we got to see the LHC, we got to see the accelerator, we got to see the control room where there's the red button that you can press. And for the longest time, I like wanted to turn that into an official video, but I just never had the time. And I kind of just, I had to part ways with it. I was like, I need to give up on turning this into a video. Inés, late, never. A doctor is never late nor early. She arrives precisely when she means to. But one of the thoughts I had was I plugged in, these aren't even all of my hard drives, but is it gonna work? Here's some of my hard drives from over the years. It's like 70% of my hard drives, including, not excluding the ones that are backups of backups. There's a schedule. The problem is I didn't prepare as much for this as I was supposed to, because I was busy trying to edit a video and then giving up and finding an editor. So, technically, yes. And I do have a hard ending today because I'm going to a friend's birthday. Sure. So I can only be here for so long. LHC, that is an amazing hype train emote, I've got to say. The heap of mismatched external drives might have dealt a psychic. Do you know why they are mismatched on purpose? Because then I know which one is which. I have a couple that are identical and I have to put labels on them. And to be fair, they're all now gonna have labels, but I actually like that they're all different. Because now I know which one is which when I see them. And when you have as many hard drives as I do, it's kind of a pain in the butt to be plugging them all in and out. You get a set of D6 dice that you're gonna hit. Ooh, that reminds me, let me check if anything has arrived in the mail. Speaking of D20s and D6s. It has not arrived, never mind. Okay. You'll need to repent. Look, some of us weren't made for a tidy lifestyle, okay? Alright. So I'm gonna see if I can find any of this mythical CERN footage, because this might be the only chance that we get to see it. This is going to be a fun hunt, because I actually don't know where it is. I have... Ooh. Okay, I've not found it, but I found other things that definitely are never going to become videos. So, a bunch of footage, video is agony for me, even trying to do script recording exactly what I need now. To be fair, now that I've been streaming for a year, I'm a lot better at doing things off the cuff, so that is something that I could ostensibly do. But also, like, I'm going to be honest, I don't remember what I did in 2017 to the level of detail that is required of me to make a video. Oh, thank you. I got a delivery of a drink. Don't we love it when that happens? I have the best husband. So I need to get my pop-out chat so I can see both chats, whilst also there we go. Got my Twitch chat here and my YouTube chat here ish. You better remember what you did yesterday. Oh, the other thing is, so this was actually a trip that I did with Spanish Science YouTube, and someone else was just faster at making the vlog. Ciencia. I don't know how he has the drive to edit as fast as he does, but he does. And he like had it ready within 3 days. I was like, I've not even taken it off my SD card. So I was like, he's already done it. Like, I don't have anything else to add to it. Hello, Hammocks, welcome in. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna see if I can find this footage. I have not found it, but I have found quite a lot of other footage that I think I'm destined to never ever find. Let
One sec, I'm doing some screen layout stuff here. First of all, let me make sure that there's not gonna be like any sort of nasty surprise appearing on screen, which I don't think so. But I just need to check this in advance. Yeah, I think this is all. Again, there's nothing here that I would like expect to not be safe for stream, but this is from like 2016. Okay. So I'm gonna show you never seen before footage that apparently I was going to make for a Raw Curiosity series. I see I'll be looking here. So I need to do this one. What base of foundation am I using? Let's see. I discovered e.l.f. primer recently, which I think does make the makeup sit a little bit better. I don't use foundation per se, but I use CC cream, and the one I use is called CC Nude Glow. I use the fair shade, but it's a little bit too dark for me. So that is the foundation, and I use Selena Gomez's Rare Beauty in Exhilarate, I think, which is the shiny thing. So it might be the shiny thing that you're seeing. And then I have a lip stain that I started using as blush sometimes because I realized that my face becomes very flat with the lights and the foundation or the base. So, and I think that's Wet and Wild, and it's probably like some sort of berry color because I quite like that color. Hopefully that. And I think that's all I use. I'm pretty much I always use the same things each time. Made with real nude fireflies. Your face looks plump suits you. It probably looks like that because I'm not wearing glasses. I have a very high prescription, and my glasses make, because I'm myopic or nearsighted, the glasses make everything look smaller. So it always makes my face look like it's shrunk here, and it makes my eyes look small and like my face has an 8 shape. But because I'm wearing contacts today, then we don't have that face warping effect. And I guess theoretically, you know, if you put the glow here, that makes that part look bigger, and there's like a smidgen of blush, but I try and make it disappear, so that probably adds some sort of contour effect. I don't know. You just did a blog about parabens talking about makeup. Cool! I don't know enough about parabens other than I just constantly see things say that they don't contain parabens. Feel free to share it in the server. I'm sure other people would love to read the blog post. Always nice was checking this footage. Does it? We were just thinking, does it show the horrible truth that the LHC unlocked? Honestly, the most horrifying thing I saw was just a professor's very messy office, and I felt vindicated because I'm very messy. Alas, it does not appear to be here. It actually literally was right after this, so it's going to be on a different hard drive, which I might be able to find it. I don't know. Maybe. We'll do some exploration. But there are a bunch of things I never... So I did make a Naukas vlog, so this has all been seen. But I remember I have all of this other footage that I was like, I just don't have time to edit it, and I never did. So I remember I went to Darwin's museum with Stated Clearly. John from Stated Clearly. I have no idea what these videos are. They're probably not very good, honestly, because this is when I started. Can you show footage of Bigfoot Amelia Hard Crash? It's not on that hard drive. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know anything that's here. I have no idea. Like, if I play any of the videos, for example, I'm probably going to mute them because I have no idea what's being said in the background. Cool. There we go. This looks like a... I almost said like a sea echidna. An erizo de mar. And a sea urchin. That's it. Oh my god. Brain is not braving. Anyway, this is from Darwin's home. Again, apparently I took a lot of videos, but they never became a video because I was like, I don't know if I have anything extra to add. Actually, what I wish I turned into a video, like recorded footage to turn into one, is the Penis Museum. From Iceland. That was an interesting place. That's another video that's in the works that technically meets this. I went to the Bjarnarhof Museum in Iceland, which is their shark museum, where they make hákarl, which is a disgusting delicacy, but I actually kind of liked it. And I have a script. I have some bits that I recorded on location and some bits that I need to record off location. So that should be one of the next ones that I make. So yeah, I don't know. Again, none of this is like particularly riveting footage, which again is why I never turned it into anything. And also, it's very dark. This was with my old camera. The what? The Phallological Museum. When I went to so there is a vagina museum in London. I'm friends with the person who founded it. It was like my biggest honor that for the longest time, her profile photo had me in it. It was the two of us. And she founded the Vagina Museum because a penis museum existed, but not a vagina museum. And the Penis Museum is in Reykjavik, Iceland. And I went to Iceland exactly a year ago, pretty much. Honestly, it was end of May last year. And I did stream afterwards, and we talked about some of the interesting findings from there. The word foundation kind of sounds like someone is doing major resourcing work, like painting a boat or something. I mean, I guess proper foundation is like thick makeup that goes on the face. I suppose it's meant to be like the foundation of everything else that you put on top. But yeah, I've never liked the look of thick foundation. So yeah, whenever I do have pimples, you can kind of see them. But it helps even out the tone a little bit, and particularly with these lights, without it, it really washes out my face. But with the CC cream, it just has like a little bit of tint in it, so my skin looks skin-colored instead of like a ghost. Iceland, that was good. They do have a lot of samples, including human samples. There are humans, some of which, whilst alive, donated their members to this museum. That is not the way I would want to have membership with the museum, just saying. Yes, it is pretty brutal. I know you're saying it as a joke, but unfortunately for some people, it was not a joke. Benny, this is really loving the choice of giving us the space on screen right now. Yes, there's one specimen called the Elmo, which has a letter of donation. Oh, sorry, Hamex asked, when traveling to Mexico, have you heard about Mupe? No. Tell me more. Such a risky share opening thing on Shiny, don't remember what they are. To be fair, this is like a work hard drive, so I'm not anticipating this. I did check already. Other things I'll check in advance. But yeah. Like full-time donation of it. Well, here's the thing. The Elmo had a letter of donation. I can see if it's online. I know I took a photo of it. Elmo letter of donation, Iceland. Here we go. A donation. I'm gonna do this. Letter of donation, Elmo, to whom it may concern. With this letter of donation, I hereby give, grant, donate, and convey full and absolute ownership of Elmo, the penis, testicles, scrotum, and pubic scalp naturally occurring on and a natural part of my body. 2.
the Iceland Phallological Institute and Museum, in brackets, Iceland Penis Museum. Said ownership shall be subject only to a separate agreement already executed, which allows me, the donor, to have possession each winter for the holiday season, running about November 15th through January 15th, and so long as the Iceland Penis Museum shall exist and be open to the public, or for the remainder of my life, whichever is longer. Should said Iceland Phallological Institute and Museum cease to exist or become insolvent, then Elmo and all his above described parts are to be promptly returned to my heirs or estate. Can you imagine? That's what you inherit from your strange uncle. Ownership of Elmo, the penis, shall be effective at the date of this letter of donation, with possession effective no later than immediately after my death, if not sooner. It is my intention to submit to surgery as soon as possible, while I am still very much alive and in healthy condition, so that Elmo the penis will be surgically harvested from my body, along with both testicles together with their cords to my abdominal wall, plus Elmo's entire scrotum, plus as much red-haired pubic scalp as we can persuade a competent surgeon to remove from me. It is my desire that Elmo the penis shall be competently preserved using the plastination process, mounted in a clear plastic case and prominently displayed to the general public for their education, entertainment, and understanding of the larger human male external reproductive system. I wish Elmo to be displayed and viewed with pride, and consequently I expect Elmo the penis and his testicle scrotum to remain undamaged and as natural in appearance as possible. As donor and the original owner, I retain the rights to marketing the image and likeness of Elmo the penis and his testicles for the purposes of novelties and general advertising materials. Otis Jones Productions has all film and motion picture rights to Elmo and the Elmo story. The Icelandic Phallological Institute and Museum hereby has full ownership rights to Elmo the penis, his testicles, scrotum, and pubic scalp. So I saw this plastinated member at the museum, and I at first actually thought it was like a silicone model of it, and then I read this letter of donation and was horrified. Whilst alive, yes. Why is it named Elmo? I don't know. It knows where you live, I guess. You should make more videos in places you want to visit so you can tax deduct your traveling costs. Thank you for reminding me to do that. Well, to be fair, there will be a video from Iceland, so I can tax deduct that one. That guy had too much high opinion of his own member. That's what I was thinking as well, like the way it was read. Also, hello, coffee cup with a nervous. This is an awkward time to enter. Yeah, I'm sorry. They... Membership, I see what you did there. Yes. But I'll give you the pun. At least they got a free pass for that museum. I mean, you'd hope so. After you die. I mean, here's the thing. There were 2 donations from people after they passed away. That I can kind of get. Whilst alive. I don't know. It just seems like a very unusual thing to do. Anyway, science video I never made. I'm probably never going to make a piece about the penis museum, but you may take this gem with you. They also have a section on troll genitalia. They also have a giant whale member, which I also took a photo against, so I guess technically I took some dick pics at that museum. Like full donation, I'll just come display it one weekend. Yeah, that, I mean, I think once you separate it, you're not really getting it back. I think that's how surgery works, but yeah. Someone else just born with a superfluous member that would rather not have. I did wonder if it was a transition thing, but it is signed as Tom Mitchell, which makes me think that they have not transitioned. I mean, yeah, clearly you can donate a member without transitioning. I see what you did there, Sirius. I think I've caught up. Ish. Andrea! Hello! Welcome in. It's good to see you. Who's this? One of my favorite artists. It took a moment. He wanted it back every year for Christmas. I think that's one of the other wild parts of this. I mean, I don't know. I guess maybe I'd want to make sure that it's
being taken care of. I'm going to have my mystery drink. It's a hot chocolate. No longer mystery drink. So another thing I have footage of was I went to Tetrapod Zoology Convention, which is run by Darren Nash, of whom I have his book, and I got it signed by him. And I guess there was like apparently there's a dinosaur workshop. I do remember vaguely making plasticine models of a dinosaur, which I'll tell you, that's something I would rather plastinate so much more than certain other things. So perhaps I used it once a year before that and wanted to keep that habit. I don't want to know what kind of usage it had beyond display. But you know what? That's at his house, so that's up to him. Anyway, these are all the dinosaur models that people made, very terribly filmed by me. I've improved way more in my video taking abilities since I started in 2016. Hello, Delon, welcome in. You're Anthony Wolf Cub. Would you like to know how much your car is worth? How are you doing? It's good to see you. Antonio Lobato? Antonio Lobato? I'm trying to figure out what the name is that you're going for. Dust off the old Johnson just for the holidays. I don't know, just for old time's sake. Antonio Lobato, there we go. It was Antonio Lobato. How are we doing? And how are you doing, Andrea? We're doing well. Today is my anniversary stream, and it's one of the rare occasions that I'm multi-streaming to my big channel, as on YouTube as well as over on Twitch. Exactly a year ago at 2 or 3 p.m., which is the time right now, I hit go live on Twitch for the first time a year ago. So it is right now that I went live for the very first time. And I'm going to have an official Twitch anniversary next week. So you're going to see this appear for a moment. Because that's when I became affiliate. So that's when we officially recognize it here. It is going to be very weeby, so I can't do that on YouTube. But it's also close to my actual YouTube anniversary because I started posting on YouTube on Draw Curiosity on the 5th of May 2016. So I wanted to talk about just things that never made it to a video, because I've actually like recorded so many things. I've had hundreds of ideas over the years. Some I've like even almost developed into a finished product, and then in the end I never posted them or never did anything with them, or others that are like ideas that I want to make but I haven't done them yet. Yeah, the big event is on the 18th. Mark your calendars. It will be a Hari Yukai stream. You're in PDT. Yes, thank you! Thank you for the stream anniversary. I appreciate it. A year ago, also the largest solar storm happened. And I didn't even get to see an aurora because it was daytime the whole time in Iceland. So anyway. I guess I took photos of people. That's John. That's Jordan Culver. He does very cool comics on Blue Sky. And I was gonna say Twitter, but probably not Twitter anymore. And then we went to the wetlands. This was after seeing Darwin's thing, which was also a lot of fun. But also clearly did not make it into a video. You're pampering yourself because you're going to a circus! That sounds amazing. Is this Cirque du Soleil or something else? The dinos need more feathers. They do, but we were only supplied with plasticine. And no feathers. But I agree. So anyway, apparently this was a thing that never turned into it. Then there was Darwin's house. So I guess there's videos here of Darwin's house. I actually think the photos... There we go. I'm not sure where I got this fedora top hat from, but... don't judge me for the feet on the couch. They're not actually on the couch. But I guess that was the one photo I got there. And a pizza, apparently. A very important part of visiting. Oh yeah, and I recorded some stuff for John from Stated, clearly, because he's a better content creator than I am, and actually, like, published the video that we recorded there. So yeah, we have some of that, again, unseen footage. Darwin's house, do they sell cheesy Galapagos postcards? That's the least round pizza you've seen. Hey, don't judge a pizza by its roundness. Some more videos with dinos. Yeah. Again, these are never gonna make it. Also, I remember I was like sponsored to attend this event, and they wanted me to make a video, but they weren't paying me to make a video. And I just kind of was like, this has got a lot of children in it, and I don't really want to deal with the legalities of that. Like, technically, everyone that I recorded had to sign a waiver, and they had like some wristband that meant they could be here, and there were lots of like cool wearables and technology and VR stuff. So I got like a lot of videos there, but I just didn't really feel like something I could turn into a video on my channel without it looking like a free advert for this event. And like I said, they weren't paying me, and it would have taken a lot of my personal time to make it, and I don't think it would have done very well. So again, I guess I got to practice taking lots of videos, but then ultimately I was like, I don't think I can make this into one. If it was Cirque du Soleil, it'd be dead by now. Your friend who's a professional clown is performing. I know professional clowns are really a thing, but I just love the idea of saying, oh yes, I'm a professional clown. I try and make people laugh for a living. I'm silly on purpose. So anyway, that unfortunately was also something I never turned into a video, but it was a series of Instagram stories at the time, and I think that was the right way to do it.
Thank you for the lurk, coffee cup.
Yeah. Then there was YouTube Next Up. So technically, On Rhymes with Face is the final video that I submitted to YouTube Next Up. And here you are being a clown for free. You mean some people are getting paid out there to be clowns? YouTube Next Up is one of my proudest things. I was the youngest channel to ever get into YouTube Next Up. I created it in May and I got in September. The actual Next Up was in December. So again, I took a lot of footage and vlogs, but it just didn't... I probably used some of the clips for like year in reviews, and then I did a video which actually did make it onto Draw Curiosity. That video was called Your Friends Are Telling Your Stories Wrong, and it's about how people have very poor recollection of stories and tales, and they tend to exaggerate them. And your memory essentially sort of rewrites itself each time you recall something. So I have a video on that, and then I sort of did like a practical demo of that with people from YouTube Next Up, and that's what this is. But that video exists on my YouTube, so if you've not seen it, it's a fun one. Yeah, and he's got semi-pro. Need to get you a better manager. Thank you, serious. Yeah, that is the video. Also feel free to put it in the YouTube chat as well, in case that makes it easier to see it there. Also, this will be staying up on YouTube. It will expire on Twitch after 2 weeks, but it will be staying up on YouTube for posterity. This one did turn into a video. I remember this one. So I guess that was some things I made. Then I guess looking at these titles, I completely forgot that I had made this. So apparently there is a video that precedes the first video of Draw Curiosity. It's probably very cringy. It's probably not very good. Also, when I tried to open it, it didn't work. And I wasn't a very good presenter back then. And it was for a competition. I don't even remember what competition this was for. It might have been the Biochemistry Society. Let's see if it works. It does not work. Let me just do this for a second. I'm gonna see if sometimes if I drag something into OBS, it will play the video. So let me just try that for a second. If not, I do have VLC Media Player, which honestly is where it should open. Yeah, no, you're right. But let's see if I can get it to work here.
Nowadays, discovering a new channel is really easy.
Okay, that did work.
What it does is all
But first of all, let's do this. Okay, that was a great not moment for that to stop on. Yeah, I didn't know anything about... I didn't know anything about video editing at the time. Is there audio for this? Can you hear it?
Eugene is really easy.
Because I'm not seeing... Oh my god. Hello, Alex! Welcome in. It's good to see you. If you're cringing when you watch your old videos, you haven't grown, be proud of the old cringe. That is true. That is true. I think I'm a much better presenter now than when I started. But admittedly, I started this channel to see if I would enjoy it. So it makes sense. You have audio? Okay, good. I don't. So it's 3 minutes. I'm just going to play it. I hope it's good. I didn't win. I'll tell you that much. I don't remember at all, but I'll play it for you.
Eugene is really easy,
Okay.
but finding out what it does is a whole other matter. Scientists find out what a gene is. With a gene, they may express it in organisms or tissues that don't have it, or they may alter its level of expression. However, there is a major caveat to this system, and it is that if you alter gene expression at the level of the whole organism, you're likely to affect its viability or find that you get confused.
Is this
the reason
the
for
right
this
one?
is that genes that express...
No, one second, sorry. That's the wrong thing. I need to add a gain. The main problem is I can't hear it, so I actually don't know what I'm talking about. Wait, why can't I? That was music, yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think I can because it's on... 1 second. Let me make this like 200% volume. Let me put music back. Where's my music gone? There we go. Alright. Sorry. I think you're right, Shackle. I could just do it that way. You're more curious about that prom drawing in the background? Oh god. I drew that. Awkward. It's okay. Alright, well... Okay, fine. We'll do VLC. I need to switch the audio over. Also, I did not do makeup or know the first thing about skincare here, so it's aside from bad presenting, it's not really like let's see. Okay. Thank you. That's very sweet. This is me from 9 years ago. 9+ years, actually. Alright, let's hope this works. Oh. No audio? Ah, I know why. Okay. There is audio on YouTube now. Very quiet. Okay. It's at 200 now. And I guess I can turn up the volume a little. I'm sorry that we're watching this 5 times for one of probably the worst things I've ever made.
Nowadays, discovering a new gene is really easy, but finding out what it does is a whole other matter. Scientists use 3 techniques to find out what a gene does. They may remove the gene, they may express it in organisms or tissues that don't have it, or they may alter its level of expression. However, there is a major caveat to this system, and it is that if you alter gene expression at the level of the whole organism, you're likely to affect its viability or find that you get confusing results. The reason for this is that genes that are expressed in multiple tissues may carry out different functions, and they're also sensitive to the stage of development during which they're expressed. The GAL4 UAS system, which is the topic of this video, actually overcomes this problem because it allows us to express a gene of interest exclusively in a tissue of interest. In 1993, Andrea Brand and Norbert Perimon found the way to insert the yeast gene GAL4 into the genome of fruit flies. In yeast, GAL4 is responsible for breaking down galactose into energy when glucose isn't present. In fruit flies, different genes carry out this function, and the presence of GAL4 has no particular effects on flies. GAL4 also likes to bind with the upstream activating sequence, or UAS for short, which is a small piece of DNA that promotes the expression of the gene following it. In simple terms, the way we get this to work is you get a set of flies and you insert GAL4 into its genome, and you make sure that GAL4 is inserted near a gene whose pattern of expression or stage of development is known to you and to be the one of interest. In a different set of flies, you insert your UAS followed by your gene of interest. When you then breed these two lines of flies together, you get a GAL4 UAS fly, which actually expresses that gene of interest exclusively in your tissues of choice. An example of the genes of interest that researchers may use are genes for visualizing different tissues, such as the entire nervous system or a cluster of neurons, genes that prevent the expression of genes that are normally expressed there, or genes which actually come from other tissues or from other organisms. An example of this last one is the gene ILUS. ILUS is typically expressed in the head in fruit flies and leads to the development of their eyes. When you express it in other tissues, you actually find that you get ectopic eyes. Researchers also found that the gene PAC6, which is the equivalent found in mollusks and vertebrates, also leads to eye development in flies, and this suggests that eye evolution probably has a common origin in animals, and the differences in different eye types that we see across all the species is due to other genes that are expressed later on in development. So overall, the GAL4 UAS system is the bread and butter of fruit fly genetic modification, and it has actually led to the development of even more sophisticated techniques which are built on its foundation. Studies using this technique have enabled us to answer questions ranging from eye evolution to how biological clocks work to how wing shape plays a role in flight and courtship. And recently, researchers have also been able to implement this technique in other organisms, such as frogs and zebrafish, which will allow for even more interesting and, most of all, useful research. Nowadays, discovering a new gene is really easy, but
Okay. Alright, let's do this for now. Ooh, that was a tough watch. Yeah, that would have been... Because you would have met me in like 2013, right? So that was 2016, early 2016. So my hair was longer. Technically, the hair color was quite similar. Well, I guess it's bleached now, but it was actually red at the time. I think I had like dyed it. That was my first foray into dyeing my hair. You could remake this video, and in the animation, I think the reason I never posted this one was because it felt a bit too specific. It was for a competition and it had a 3-minute limit, and I think that's why I'm talking very fast. Also, I think I just naturally talk very fast on YouTube videos because I get very... Well, at the time I was doing it from memory. Now I use a teleprompter, but I always find myself putting the teleprompter to the max speed because I get very locked in and I'm just like, okay, welcome back to Draw Curiosity, and here we are. Here's the next thing we need to talk about. Here's the thing about bee movie that I really need you to know. There is no such thing as a male bee with a stinger because it is a modified ovipositor. I don't know what it is, but I just naturally talk very quickly, apparently. And I think I've gotten better at enunciating. Singing lessons have done a world of good for my voice sounding better. Like, I listen to that, I'm like, oh my god, she does not know how to talk. Back then, this was me trying to see if I would enjoy public speaking. That was the first time I had, like, written a proper script and talked to a camera. You might dislike everything. It was a really nice watch. That is very sweet of you to say, Cassette. You're all very sweet. Another talking fast. To be fair, my other, like, secret reason for talking fast, so there are people out there, like my husband, who play their YouTube videos at 2x speed, which reduces the watch time that I get. But if I speak fast enough, they can't do that. In fact, it might even make you play it at half the speed, and then I get more watch time. You watch YouTube at 2x, sorry. It's fine. I forgive you. But admittedly, it is just I naturally
talk very quickly, especially back then, because I'd get very nervous about recording and trying to get it perfect, and the nervousness would make me talk faster. I don't know, I feel like I talk fast on stream too, but to me, it doesn't feel like I'm talking fast. I feel like I'm a lot chiller. The editing can... Oh, yes. Well, I had to shorten the pauses because I needed it to fit within 3 minutes. That's the other reason I never posted it on YouTube. I like to make my videos at least look like I tried and it's all in one take. I don't like the jump cut look. So I was like, yeah, that's never making it onto YouTube, and it was a little bit too specific. I think if I were to adapt this to YouTube, I'd have to give a much more ample primer on gene editing. The irony is this is so long ago that even though I actually studied GAL4 UAS flies, I don't remember the specifics. I'd have to study it again. If Forever Lorelei stand, I need to watch Gilmore Girls. You watch them at 1x and just skip sponsor segments. I mean, yeah, everyone skips the sponsor segments. I see it in my audience retention, but same. 0.25 speed really does count for 4x watch time. Hey, if we all want to spam rhymes with face at that watch time, maybe we'll get that all monetized as well. You're interested in the content of the video, you didn't mind about anything else. Sometimes you slow videos down if the presenter talks really fast. I try and talk at a better speed, but I know that it was one of the more common things that people would say. They're like, she talks too fast. And that's why I started doing subtitles on my videos, also so it would be accessible to everyone. So at least if I was talking too fast, or I look back and I don't always enunciate things properly. This is probably a my parents thing, because my parents are English teachers and Spanish teachers. So whenever I pronounce anything wrong, they'll be the first to tell me that, you know, I said something wrong, etc. So they will correct me, and so I think my impression is I speak English a lot worse than I think I actually do. That's very sweet. Be kind to your past self. They were doing the best you could. That is true. And this was me starting, and admittedly, you know, I never made the video public for a reason. And I sort of feel similar about Twitch. Like my very first few live streams, I probably would also find cringy if I had to sit through them, but that's how we start and how we get better at our skills. So even your example of talking fast now is so much more controlled in the delivery than that nostalgia hit. Well, I have been doing this for a while now. I also think that singing has made me think a lot more about tempo and timing and, you know, just putting the brakes on things. Interesting how much my voice is... Yes, well, again, I attribute that to the singing, because she's done a much better job at me using my diaphragm. I didn't know how to talk back then. I'm not someone who, like, talks unless I have to, if that makes sense. Like, I could never envision myself streaming, because it's really hard for me to just, like, conjure up words on the spot. And I'd get really nervous, and when you're nervous, your voice, like, jumps up a few pitches, so I can really hear that. And also probably my accent is a bit different. I think I still have a British accent, but it has drifted a lot since I have left the UK. And your older videos... Yes, I did over-enunciate sometimes. I pronounced some things wrong, and then I would over-enunciate other things. I can't watch my first 3 videos. They were over-rehearsed, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I would redo them, but I'd much rather just work on new video ideas. It does always kill me when someone comments and on like my first ever video and is like, here are some tips on how to improve your presentation. I'm like, please just click on a recent video. It is the actual time. I think it's because it's the time that someone spent on your video or on YouTube, and that's what YouTube is counting. And also, I guess it would mean if it did count, you could watch them at 2x speed and give someone way more watch time. It's annoying. You know, so when your pitch goes up. Yeah, people would make fun of me. They're like, oh yeah, when Inés gets nervous, she like, her register goes all the way up there. She gets like the mouse voice is what people would say. So I'm proud of having a bit more confidence now.
You make up for the lack of experience with shy cuteness and personality. I definitely was very shy back then. I mean, in some ways I'm still shy, but you know, this is now my space, and I understand it. Axon, thank you so much for hanging out with us, and sorry for keeping you up past your bedtime. I really appreciate that you made it in. I hope you had a wonderful dinner with your partner. I saw earlier that you were doing that, so it means a lot that you like made the time to pop in. Thank you. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and thank you for popping in and sharing the nostalgia. I remember watching your videos a long time ago. You can look on Twitter. Say more than 5 or 6 years. I think most people found me in September 2016 from the Tom Scott video that I made. And I did post most of my content then. I sort of became spottier in the last year of my PhD, and then I just kind of... I remember I was just constantly trying to catch up with projects. And part of this whole stream is me trying to make peace with the things I never finished from that era. Because I just kind of always felt like, oh, I have like 20 videos that I'm never going to make. And I feel like I should make them before working on other things, but also I kind of don't want to make them anymore. And then, I don't know, I just kind of needed a break. Then the pandemic happened, and then there were like slight visa things where I couldn't work for a while. So all of those things together just meant that I like vanished into nowhere for a long time, and then shyly came back last year, and hopefully now we'll start posting again. And I'm excited for the time when people say that they follow my stuff from the B movie or stuff that I've made, as opposed to the Tom Scott cameo, which again, I'm proud of that video, but it's a very different Ines that we're seeing back then. So proud of you. You're very sweet, Andrea. Finally back and probably able to check out the new emotes. I hope you love them. Or there's gonna be more, but these are the ones that are ready. You finally threw the Tom Scott video. Well, how long ago that was? I know. Yeah. Sorry, I was about to say a bunch of things, but I was like, no. But yes, I remember applying for that, and honestly, it is kind of thanks to Tom that I did YouTube Next Up, because at the time, I think I had like 400 subscribers, and no one had seen my thing, so I probably would have never actually gotten anywhere on YouTube if it had not been for that. But I'm also like, I would like to see my stuff succeed of its own accord, and I would also like to see my my stuff succeed to a point where it's both self-sustaining and also pays my bills. It kind of works right now. Okay, I'll drink some water.
Alex_Branter just redeemed drink water.
Because yeah, right now, again, I'm leaving this country at a nondescript time in the future. So I can't really get like a stable job, if that makes sense. I'm kind of stuck freelancing until I need to go, because I don't think anywhere would hire me. So I'm just like, okay, this is my chance to just try and get this to work. To at least do something. And, you know, a year ago I was like, I'm giving myself a year to make it work. It's not quite where it needs to be, but actually it's doing decent.
The circle of life.
Doug's Arb cheered 314.
Thank you for the 314 cheer, Doug. I might even re-record those at some point. Even my singing has improved drastically. So the other thing I did was for the 12-month subscription, I was like, I will do a karaoke song for each person who's been subscribed on Twitch for 12 months. Again, I'm very shy about singing. I'm not necessarily very good at it, but it's something... I was like, if I make this like a slight pressure thing, it will make me want to improve at it. Me too, the Game Garage. Oh, you found me through the Game Garage, not the cameo? Okay, that was actually, the Game Garage was later. And I know some people found me through Lateral, so don't get me wrong. I'm very, very grateful for all of the appearances I've been able to make. I'm just sometimes like, I just want to see my own stuff, like, do well on YouTube, as opposed to it does well when I'm on someone else's channel that already has an established platform. Again, I just need to post more often. I know why it is.
Hi, Aaron, over on YouTube as well. Thank you for popping in over there too. Appreciate it. All right, I'm sort of reading both chats. I'm doing my best to keep up with all of it. Don't look at the most recent comment for my first video. I've not seen it. I mean, I'm sure it's I'm sure it's probably like talk better or something. To be fair, I don't usually get bummed out by YouTube comments, so it's actually kind of hard to. I was a bullied child. Like I was bullied IRL for my entire schooling time before I moved to uni. So there's very little that 3 lines on the internet can do to hurt my feelings. So it's okay. But I won't read it now. You need to rewatch this. And actually, now that I think about it, so I did 2 episodes this year with them. So I did one in March. Well, I did them on the same day, but one was released in March, and I think the other one's going to come out soon. I don't know if it's come out yet or not, but yeah, it would be a good time to post a new video so that people who come over from it will see it. Thank you for the unlock. Welcome back, Coffee. The bigger you get, the more fans you get. It's called the circle of life. I don't know. I mean, the other thing is, right, I don't like necessarily crave fame or being big. I just want to get by, that I don't have to worry about what's going to happen in my life, and make things for a community that appreciates the stuff I do. Like, I don't need the entirety of YouTube to watch my stuff. I don't need millions of views on my videos. I quite like being able to go about my day-to-day without people recognizing me, although it does happen sometimes that someone's like, I recognize you. And then, like, we'll figure out if it's YouTube or something else. But, you know, it's kind of nice to be Anon. IRL. Floor. 105 triggers a bit notification that mentions a circle. I see what you did there. This is Doug's special pie redeem, because he said Doug was actually the very first person to message on Twitch when I started. Like, he was the very first person to put a message in my chat, and he said that pi was his favorite number to cheer, so that redeem was made for him. Bully child to cool adult pipeline is real. To be fair, I'm glad I didn't peak in popularity as a kid. I feel like I'm a cooler person for it now. And I guess being an adult, I enjoy having more freedom to do the things. But... And also, yeah, it's pretty hard to phase me. Like, I don't think I've ever had a... Well, never say never, but I'm trying to think. I don't... Like, I definitely get critical YouTube comments, because you can't be a woman on the internet and not get them. But I can't, like, pinpoint anything that would, you know, that's, like, stuck with me and has created an insecurity sort of thing. Like, there are some comments that I remember, because I'm like, okay, this person has, like, shown up and they're kind of creepy, so I just want to keep an eye on them and I'll remember what they've said. But, like, the contents of it has never, you know, does not keep me up at night. Fairly sure you found me through... Oh yeah, I did used to have... Hello, Legis Creek, welcome in, it's good to see you. This is a fun place to hang out with fun people. Thank you, I appreciate you saying that. And it's always good to see you. How are you doing? I did actually have a YouTube channel called Squeak Code. It still exists. I've not taken the videos down. I can't watch them. Think that presenting style you just saw, but worse because there's no script. And also about a topic that I had a lot of trouble talking about at the time. So I did make those videos. And apparently some people have found me through there, which is, like, shocking to me. The moment that channel started to do well, I was like, wait, I don't want to be a figurehead for this. Like, I want to make science videos. And I want to talk about my passions, not, like, the things that have made me feel bad in life. So I stopped making those videos and then started Draw Curiosity. So that's actually the story behind it. But I left the videos up in case they're ever helpful to anyone. They're very old. I'm not a very good presenter in them. I don't think they get views anymore, but they're there because it felt bad to take them down, as some people said they were helpful. Can Vanny see the butterflies? Yeah. You like them? I made them yesterday. No, please don't bully me. Basic security is a good thing. Good. You in rehab? I know. I remember you mentioning that, which is why I was like, "How are you doing? Hopefully things are still going well. Welcome back."
If you do a comeback channel, are you gonna call it Drawn Satisfaction?
I should really not make any more channels, to be fair. Although I did want to make a fashion channel at some point, so that might be the last one that I create. But yeah, I made Squeak Code. I have Rhymes with Face, which is just like anything that I wouldn't post anywhere else. It goes there. So like when I live stream on Twitch, I usually multi-stream over there. The things that people especially enjoyed on Twitch I've reposted over there. The hair vlog when I cut my hair, because I knew people would have questions, so I was like, I'm just gonna make a Q&A as to why I'm cutting my hair. Blah blah blah. Has a very sharp turn to mental illness. There is a very strong correlation between being bullied and having being more prone to certain mental health conditions, but also being bullied is often related. I mean, no better way of diagnosing autism than being bullied for being socially awkward and being autistic. Kind of comes with the trifecta of you'll probably have Tourette's or OCD or ADHD, or you could be me and have all of them. Unfortunately true, but a lot of us here can relate. I definitely think it is. I feel like the kind of the at least one modality of person who watches my stuff could probably relate very strongly to that. That being said, I'm glad that most of the bullying stuff is in my past, and like occasionally people from my school will like appear, but I don't know. They can't do anything to me. So it doesn't matter. Fashion challenge, you miss making clothes. I really want to get into the making clothes part. This for now is probably just gonna be like cute dresses and stuff. But I do have I have like this whole playlist saved on how to make different things. Again, probably not going to do that in the US because, like I said, I really have to downsize, not add more equipment to make things. It was mostly a joke of curiosity to kill the cat, but satisfaction brought it back. Oh, I didn't know. I figured it was a pun, but I actually did not know the ending to that phrase. You just check sub September 9th, 2016. That is the day that I made my video on Tom Scott's channel. Like, well, I think it was September 5th, maybe. It was early September, so it would have been Tom Scott. And before that, my channel had 400 subscribers and like 1,000 views, so Acapella Science found my channel before Tom Scott, though. School children are better than doctors at identifying autism in children. Facts. No notes. Interesting. Well, in Spain, I don't think anyone knew what autism was. At least not where I grew up, so... I think they just thought I was weird, and the closest I got to a diagnosis was, oh, Inez, you're like Sheldon from Big Bang Theory. People attack when they don't understand, and people with brains that work differently are hard to understand for most. In hindsight, right, like I look back at how people treated me and what things they would say, I'm like, oh, it all suddenly makes sense now. It didn't make sense to me at the time. I was like, there's clearly something about me that just makes me really unlikable to everyone. I don't know what it is. I mean, sometimes in my comments there'll be people who are like, I can't stand this woman. So I'm like, clearly it triggers this in some people, but you can't appeal to everyone. And like I say, my goal is not really to appeal to everyone, it's to appeal to people who enjoy this kind of thing. It also comes to mind when people say that no child is gay trans. The irony is, as a kid, I actually, like, I don't know, I've said this before on stream, but like, I don't feel very strongly about gender. Like, I looked like a boy when I was growing up, and people would always ask me, are you a boy or a girl? And I kind of liked it that people thought I was, like, they would insult me. They'd be like, oh, Inés is a insert slur for trans person or insert, she's a boy, etc. And I was like, I kind of like that I can pass both ways if I need to. I don't know. I've no strong desire to transition, so I don't think I'm trans. But I'm like, I don't feel strongly about gender, and I never really have. I don't fully get it, but I see that it does resonate a lot with other people, which is why I'm like, yeah, I'm probably like some sort of agender. And again, that's apparently pretty common in autistic people, like not quite connecting with that concept. But interestingly, I guess, yeah, kids did pick up on that. I was a very good tomboy. What? Are you sure they aren't saying I can stand this woman? It's okay. I mean, I like I said, I don't, as long as someone doesn't obsessively hate me in a way that is gonna be a problem, I don't care. Because I send you. Thank you. Alright. You're not unlikable. There won't be 50 people chit-chatting with you now. I guess that's true. I'm very grateful that I found the 50 people who can put up with me. To be fair, I think I'm liked more as an adult, or at least as adults. I think people are much better at just removing themselves from interacting with people that they don't get along with. Hi, Ice Elf Loyal Hats, welcome in. Quite sure people who just come to tell they don't like you have some illness of their own. Normally, even fairly reasonable people just clicks off and does something else, putting the time and effort into hate signals issues. Yeah, there were a bunch of strange people when I cut my hair who, like, took it upon themselves to, like, pop up every so often. To comment on, you know, the great tragedy and sin that I had committed in cutting my hair. But again, yeah, if you do care about something that's negative, to go out of your way to communicate that to the person, I mean, it is technically a form of harassment and kind of a problem that's living rent-free in someone's brain. So I do agree with you there. And I don't know, we all have our battles and demons. Mine were OCD. I'm sure plenty of the kids at my school probably had their own thing or things going on at home, and I was just like the easy scapegoat for them. Dropping frames! Oh no, I am dropping frames. Husband? Okay. Oh no. It's yeah. We're just gonna wait out the choppiness. I'm not sure. Where'd it out? I think bitrate went down. At least it didn't go down fully to 0. It might be the fact that it's starting to get hot again. Because I remember last summer we had a lot of issues like this. And I think it's a heat thing. I'm just staring at it to see if it comes back. Time for stream dying emote. No! We don't want this to be a thing! Is it also dropping on YouTube, or is it just on Twitch that it's dying? It is still not coming back, though. I also don't want to, like, stop the stream and restart, but I might have to do that. Is it okay on YouTube? Might be back now? Okay. It does not indicate that it's back on my side, but it's better than it was. YouTube's being better. Okay, good. Then I'm just gonna continue. It does say it is still dropping frames, but it's climbed up to 5,000 bitrate. What did I do with the hair? Did I make a toupee out of it? I sold it. I didn't want it. It was like a good mark of the end of something. Okay, the bitrate is now spiking, so it's probably gonna level out soon. But we're just gonna have to weather it a little bit longer. Merlin! Levial toodles and spruces all around. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Sleep well, and thank you so much for popping in. I really appreciate you being here for my little silly anniversary stream. The bitrate is still spiking. Technically, it should be going to the Seattle one, but I think it is LA. We're back! It turned green. We're back.
I'm just gonna, you know, wait for some sort of confirmation that it's back on everyone else's side, but yeah. Okay, good. No, it's probably, honestly, now that it is starting to get hot, this might happen a little bit more often, which is annoying, but we just have to deal with it. Good on this end now, is buffering for a couple of times now. Okay, good. Yes, there's, like, OBS has a little health thing at the bottom, but I think we're back now. I'm not sure what caused it. It always seems to happen at, like, 3 p.m. as well. So I don't know if there's something in LA or with my internet that happens at around 3:30 p.m. that would cause that to occur, or if it just happens to coincide with when it's hottest outside. Oh yeah, Shackle does always say you might want to refresh Twitch or YouTube if it has gotten a little bit out of sync, but we should be back now. Oh, we might be dropping frames again. Never mind. Anyway, there were other things that I was gonna see if there was any other videos I started working on that I never posted. So there's one video I have here, which I might make one day, but I just have never gone all the way. It's called The Law of Urination Has Interesting Applications. Hello, Ratling. Thank you so much. Says curse sentence and then, oh, thank you. Welcome in. It's good to see you. I'm talking about science ideas that I've never turned into videos yet. It's not easy being green. It really isn't. I'm sure Shrek and Fiona have things to say about that. But yeah, this is something that I'm sure I'll make at some point. It's just like a fun biomechanics story. It's something that won an Ig Nobel Prize, and I got to see this Ig Nobel Prize talk live by these authors. And the fuzzy bee, Why Are Bees So Fuzzy, that video that I made last year, some of the research that is cited there is by the same group that did this research. So I've had a few scatological ideas, like there's a lot of interesting poop and anus facts about a lot of animals. And I want to find out the best way to make that into a video that's just not going to be smutty or like haha poop poop. And same with the law of urination has interesting applications. I really want to make that into a biomechanics video. It'll probably be quite a short one. Probably, you know, now that I have an editor, maybe it will be easier to make this faster. So that's what I want to do. If I make it in a planned way, I'd probably try and time it with the Ig Nobel Prizes. And maybe if I'm extra planned, I might, applied, I might do a live stream shortly after the Ig Nobel Prizes and we can talk about the new ones that come out. Because the Ig Nobel Prizes always bring me a lot of joy. It's research that on the surface sounds silly, but ends up having like surprisingly good applications. Is it that the all mammals take 20 seconds to pee? It is. And it's also that if you're taking substantially longer than that to pee, well, on the one hand, it's just interesting biomechanics and biological scaling. But also, if you take a long time to pee, then you should get that checked out. So, again, much like kids are very good at diagnosing autism, if you're taking a long time to pee, you might want to get your prostate checked. Or see if you have a UTI or something like that. Again, that's kind of the vague gist of it, but, you know, it will have cool graphics and all that. Apparently, this is one of my initial ideas. Like, it has existed on my hard drive since 2016. All of the research is there, like all the B-roll from their paper. I just haven't scripted it. You just have to say, no heterophobia. I didn't mean it. No, you're good. You're all good. I was thinking more like, oh, what I just said, because I was talking about how animals pee. You've been buffering all the time. You're on VPN. Oh, okay. I guess if you're on a remote area. I appreciate you tuning in despite those conditions. I'm very flattered. Thank you. Some of the bites of the stream are actually carried by cows. Well, you know, if there's not enough grass, they have to get their bites elsewhere. YouTube stream ended? It shouldn't have ended. Is it? It says excellent connection on my end. Is it still going? YouTube is still going. Okay, good. Thank you. Sorry. I could believe it, but I don't know. But what if you just hold a lot of liquid at the time? Well, the thing is, the way the bladder and the hole and the urethra, the way it all scales is even if you have a lot of liquid, you still void it in just about the same amount of time as something with a tiny bladder or something with a really big bladder. Sometimes you take so long to pee that you get really bored standing there. You might want to get your prostate checked out. But you also drink like 1.5 gallons of water and tons of coffee a day. To be fair, coffee is a diuretic and it will do that for you. This is... I'm learning a lot about everyone's peeing habits right now. Oh, it's not ended. Okay. To be fair, I did see a huge... Like, there's a little graph that shows concurrent viewership and it did like suddenly dip down. So I could believe that it might have coughed in one way or another, which is annoying. But I guess it will be this time of year where I start looking into streaming to different servers. Instead of the LA one, I might stream to the Seattle one. The latency might be a little longer, but hopefully it will be more stable. You're definitely an edge case outlier screwing up the curve. Okay, well, that was apparently also on the list of ideas that didn't quite get made into a video, but could. Like I said, this is me just gauging enthusiasm for the silly things that I've thought of. Let's see. Oh, okay, a science video that I never made. There was one called Pokemon Go. So I wanted to talk about how Pokemon Go is kind of the opposite of ecology, because at the time when Pokemon Go was released, you would find the most Pokemon in cities or in areas where there were more people using the app. And then if you're in the countryside, well, sucks to be you, I guess, because not many Pokemon would spawn there. And so I wanted to use that as a segue to talk about how population density and dependence works and changes, where actually you would expect a higher density of Pokemon or other animals in general in less human populated areas, because there would be less competition for resources, with humans obviously taking over the resources that would be useful for those animals. I don't think so with YouTube, but I can look into it. But certainly at least with Twitch, and because it's kind of a dependency, if things go wrong with Twitch, it can also go wrong with YouTube, which is why. The thing about YouTube, if you lag out for 1 sec, the little red live dot goes grey. Oh, I didn't know that. Countryside Pokemon Go player can confirm, had to drive. Is it still like that? Because the only reason I never made it is it just didn't feel like it was relevant anymore, and I was like, I know I can't make the video in this speed. I've had a lot of requests to make Pokemon themed science videos, so I might try and do something. Haven't specifically thought of what yet. I did start posting deck lists for Pokemon TCG Pocket on my second channel, because I did get into that brand of Pokemon very much, and those also started to do decently. Maybe Pokemon are symbiotic with people, though. It could be, but it was more the fact that they would pop up more where people were. So I just wanted to talk about population density and then use that as an example to talk about prey-predator dynamics and how organisms can flock together and the different rules and how, you know, tiny rules can lead to, say, flocking, etc. So that was an idea I had, never made it. Probably won't make it, at least not in that form. Like, I'll probably find another way to integrate this information, but not like that. You stopped playing a long time ago. I stopped playing for ages, then I realized that there was like a Pokemon Go event in LA a couple months ago. So I played obsessively for the 1 week that event was happening and kind of stopped again. But a lot of animals are more prominent in the city. Well, yeah, your Raticates, for example, would probably be in the city, but I think it's specifically like a lot of the rarer Pokemons, you could only find them in the city, whereas I would have thought you would be more likely to find them in, you know, in a more countryside-like area.
again, it was really just a way to have popular media as an excuse to talk about science things. I also never made the video, so yeah. Better than being on the charts. Yeah. They said in Go stronger when human train them than they do in the wild. Minnesota started making Pokemon related stuff? I didn't know that. Or Pokemon is the least biologically sound popular media, just a thought. I had considered, especially given that we all love bees here, like just ranking all of the Pokemon bees for accuracy. Again, as an excuse to just talk about bees. But I feel like I've talked about bees so many times on this channel. I don't know if I have any more bee facts to give. I've seen some bad charts. Was it chart? Yes, it was. All right, let me continue looking at my video idea list. And by video, this is actually not my video idea list. This is things that I made folders for on my hard drive, which means that I considered making it a video idea. I have something here that's how to teach a computer language. So this is in the pre-ChatGPT days. I wanted to talk about neurolinguistic programming, and there was like some guy who was working on this who was going to sponsor one of my videos, but then the amount he was going to offer was like not enough to sponsor a video. So then I never made it. That's the like accurate story. Ooh, this one I am going to make at some point. The science of the perfect hot chocolate, of which apparently I have some random images in there, which I am not going to use. But I have wanted to make a face-off between Colacao and Nesquik. Colacao is a Spanish hot chocolate, which is el mejor chocolate del mundo. But I wanted to talk about that. That is going to be a video. So that one's one I've never made, but that I've not forgotten about. Your girlfriend is obsessed with bees. Well, your girlfriend might like Why Are Bees So Fuzzy? Your girlfriend might like Everything Wrong with Bee Movie by an entomologist. Your girlfriend might like... I have at least one other. Why Bumblebees Squirt and How It Controls Their Life. Which is probably one of the most out there video titles I've ever come up with. The most clipped thing from my Bee Movie video, aside from the wrong sex, wrong sex, wrong sex, is people clipping the little insert of the bumblebee squirting that I mentioned cursorily, and all the titles are like, what? This is a thing? Ranking Pokemon bees by accuracy, Vespiquen comes top. It's the only one that even acknowledges gender differences. I also would need to actually like read Pokemon lore in order to do that. Obviously, I need to find a way to put Cutie Fly in as the top bee fly. Why Be So Fuzzy might be my favorite bee video on Geocracy. Honestly, Why Be So Fuzzy I think is my favorite video that I have made. Also, Why Be So Fuzzy would have been on this list of science videos I never made but had planned on making for ages. So it was one of those things that I was like, finally, I made it. Though You're Pouring Your Milk So Wrong is also one of said videos. I was like, I'm finally gonna do it. NLP is the pickup artist, fake science. I think you might have meant neural network programming. I don't remember. That's actually the funniest part, is it just says how to teach a computer language. I just remember it was NLP. But I also remember I decided against making it, and then now ChatGPT exists, and I'm a lot more likely to make a stop using ChatGPT for these reasons. But that would also be a sort of negative video to make. But it might also do well, so I don't know. Maybe. You're obsessed with bees too? You have a bee tattoo? Cute! I do have a lot of bee videos, it's true. Sometimes I think I should make fewer, but... Oh! On this list of ideas, of video ideas I've never made, which is highly requested, How Do Bees Fly? Again, that's a talk I gave for Naukas many years ago. I could probably make it into a video. I think I just needed like a break and some distancing from like my PhD topic. And literally everything I've done at Naukas, I want to be a video at some point. Like I've made one about why bird vision is so good. That has kind of been fragmented into other micro topics that I've covered on the channel, because I do a lot of stuff about vision as well. So that is one. There's one that I also want to work on called Why Our Retinas Are Upside Down, which I've never seen anyone make a video about that, but I want to make a video about it. And then I mentioned this one earlier, but why everyone was so bad at guessing how much my hair weighed, which is... I don't want to give the video away, so I'm just gonna say I'll be working on that once I am confident that Draw Curiosity is a healthy channel and getting views. Before Pokemon Snap 64, almost all Pokemon were static 2D. I have played Snap 64 with a friend, and I did actually appreciate a lot of the game mechanics that had. What, B videos? I think all your videos. Thank you, Mateus. It's also NLP, but a completely different kind of NLP. Natural language processing. That's actually that was the NLP. I've seen all of these different NLPs, and I agree with what you said. I just didn't remember, honestly. Sorry. Like I said, this is a stream, not an official video. For the official video, I will research stuff for way too long to make sure it's as accurate as possible. The perfect hot chocolate is chocolate milk frothed into hot chocolate powder. But there are different sorts of powder. You see, that's the thing. There's a lot of like interesting food science that goes into it that I want to talk about. Pouring milk wrong changed your life because you never understood those containers until then. I'm glad it actually helped, because the number of comments I got there was like, also applies to pouring engine oil, or like, I knew that already, or like, I don't have containers like this. I was like, I got well actually'd by a lot of people. But it's fine. Your hair weighed exactly 1 international hair unit. Yeah. But how much is that international hair unit when converting to other international weight units? Yes, and I had to pour milk right now. The funniest thing is after pouring the milk, sorry, after making that milk video, the next day I poured my milk wrong. Even though, like, my parents taught me this as a kid, probably because they saw the potential of a very clumsy child, and they wanted me to stop being messy. So they were like, this is how you pour your milk. But then apparently this isn't a thing that everyone knows, so I was like, I should make a video about it, but it also feels a little basic. Natural language processing pre-LLM approach of making is the hellishly bad working that your car had 10 years ago for voice styling. Yes, I was gonna say, it seems like the precursor to LLMs. Like, I think this person was making an extension for Chrome, and I get that they were a solo developer, so obviously they probably didn't have the money to like sponsor it, but I was like, this doesn't feel like, I'm not gonna make a free ad for your product that I don't know much about. Like, I like the concept, but yeah, if someone wants me to make a dedicated video, well, now it has to go through an agent, but back then it at the very least had to cover my bills. The perfect hot chocolate is the one left in the fridge until it's ice cold. Oh yeah, that's right, you don't like hot chocolates. But okay, there's more to it. Again, I'm not giving the video away because I'm gonna make it. But there's science also to making a good ice cold chocolate. Some hot chocolates become ice cold chocolates a little better than other ones. There was a thing called Via Voice Office. It was a program that allowed you to dictate the text. Oh, you know, sometimes if I were more verbal pre-stream days, I would have loved something like that to get better. All right, let me see what other video ideas. Look at me. Got 1 hour left. Actually being good at... oh, I have one called 3 Stories of False Friends. I just wanted to make an etymology video about words that sound similar in Spanish but are different, such as preservative versus preservativo. Preservativo is a condom in Spanish, and also a preservative. Embarrassed or embarazada. Embarrassed, we know what it means. Embarazada, pregnant. Constipated versus constipado. Constipated, having trouble going to the bathroom. Constipado, to have a cold, to be congested. It actually comes from, like, constipado I think means like something stuck in a tube, and just, you know, Spain versus English decided that something different was stuck in the tube. So that was that video idea, but I don't know that I will... I've thought about making, like, linguist videos because my parents are linguists and obviously I'm bilingual, but I don't know if I don't know if I would or not. I don't know if it would be too off-brand, or like this also doesn't feel like anything particularly groundbreaking. So again, that was like an idea I had, but I never made it. I did see that too. I don't know what disconnected from the wave socket. I don't like it because it drops 1 frame each time it does that. I've actually noticed when looking back, it like makes the frame disappear for a moment. But I don't know what disconnected. I'm assuming it might be something to do with the Stream Deck, but it has also reconnected here. Saying the perfect hot chocolate is a milkshake. I mean, it also depends on the time of year. You went on adventures for days, crossing state lines, trying to experiment and recreate the United Aztecs chocolate drink. When I did go to Mexico, I have a lot of Mayordomo and La Abuela. Like I have a lot of hot chocolate things here. I should make that video. I should call her. You spent hours and still never worked about yes and no levels of complexity. I remember reading about, you know, Turing tests and like ascertaining whether an AI could pass as human or not. Actually, one of the things that makes me very sad about ChatGPT is the way that you can identify if something is by ChatGPT is if they feature the M dash. But I am actually someone who likes using M dashes. And now I feel like I can't use an M dash because people are going to think that I use ChatGPT to compose that message. Because the M dash is a wonderful thing, but apparently it's AI coded now. Same in Latvian. Oh, are you Latvian? I've always been very curious about Latvian and Lithuanian because I know it's like it's considered a rare language because I think there's like 1 million speakers or fewer. But you still poured it wrong well, I poured it wrong in the video on purpose. I got so much milk on me and over everything I owned that day. The amount of paper that I had to clean up was pretty astounding. Yeah, that because LLMs are so cleanly. Yeah, that's actually what I'm worried about. What I'm worried about too. Self-conscious and Selbstbewusstsein. Oh, that's right, you were German. I've also thought about whether to... Yeah. There's been like some etymology video ideas I've had. I know the one that says this title, 3 False Friends, those were the 3 I had in mind, but I have lists and lists of words like this across different languages. So maybe one day I'll do some big aggregate of like fun things across different languages. This is your chance to vote whether you think this is something you would want to watch or if it's something that I shouldn't bother with. Also in Latvian, Ines is a very popular name, except we add es or is to determine if it's feminine or masc. I don't think there's a male Ines, but there is a name which is Gines, with a G in front. And there is also a city, a little town outside of Seville called Gines. And as mentioned, as a kid, I looked like a boy because I had short hair that would, I guess, look like this if we ignore all of this. And, you know, obviously I have makeup on right now, but like I have a nice jawline. And as a kid, you know, no earrings, no holes. So I just and, you know, as a kid, no puberty. So I just looked like a boy. So people would hear Ines and they would think my name was Gines and they would call me Gines at the time. Inese or Inesis. I kind of like Inesis, so, you know, adding to the weird gender thing. Which also, like, the ram that I have, I know it's a male sheep, but I like it. So, I chose it. Male version is kind of old school and not that popular, though. Female version, you know, at least 10. I feel like Ines has raised in popularity. Like, I used to always be the only Ines that I knew for a long time. Also, we have a lake named Inesis, rhymes with Desis. Got them cheekbones. Apparently they are Greek cheekbones. My mum is half Greek, and everyone I've met from Greece is like, yeah, those are Greek cheekbones and a Greek nose. I don't know. I'll take it. If we ignore a bunch of features, I look like a boy. Well, you know, I went through puberty, so there were some things that, you know, I guess feminized me eventually. But I've heard that I look like a boy so many times that I'm like, yeah, I'm kind of cool with being androgynous. It's fine. What research has shown that jawline is getting smaller? Oh, I didn't know that. You know, I was gonna say you could probably tell because my teeth aren't perfectly straight, but I've never used braces. I always say I have a big mouth. Like I can open my mouth wide, and shockingly, even though so much of me is so tiny, I have all my wisdom teeth, and it looks like I'm gonna get to keep all of them. So they all fit in my mouth. Again, touch wood that it stays that way, but you love linguistics in Portuguese. Assumir means to take possession, whereas presumir means to assume. Interesting, because in presumir in Spanish, okay, presumido, like to boast about something, to show off, is to presume in Spanish, presumir. But yes, assume does mean different in English. Another interesting one with Portuguese, ligar, which is to call on the phone in Portuguese. Ligar in Spanish is to flirt. So whenever I would go to Portugal, I'd always say like, liga-nos at this number, which sounds like flirt with us on this number instead of call us for this service. Where did the superstition of knock on wood start from? I don't know. I know where the superstition of mucha mierda, or like lots of poop, comes from, which is also a thing that I want to make into a video. Which actually reminds me, so I've not done much stand-up comedy, but I've done some science-themed stand-up comedy a couple times in my life, and one was actually for the Large Hadron Collider, story collider at the London Natural History Museum, and I did encounter that video, but I'm not going to share it, unfortunately. I might turn it into a script. I did not know how to sing back then, but I made a whole script about poop and poop in war. And then I wrote a whole song which was supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, but adapted to this poop story that I was talking about. And I lost my train of... Oh yeah, and so one of the superstitions that I talked about was about the poop one. It wasn't that long ago that kids were raised gender neutral until puberty, with all kids in just kids' dresses. I also know that pink and blue used to be reserved in the class. Please sing it to us. You know, I probably could actually do that now. I don't think I would have. I actually kind of regretted doing it at the time. I can sing it, but you won't have the context to it. But again, we can vote for this to become... Okay, here goes. Super camel fecal matter for the superstitious. Some would say that eating it is somewhat surreptitious, even though the locals say it can be quite delicious. It's super camel fecal matter for the superstitious. Dum-da-lily-dum-dee-da, dum-da-lily-dum-dee-da. Because I had dysentery, my stomach hurt real bad. My dad prepared my obituary and told me he was sad. And then one day I learned a trick that caused quite the strife. The greatest trick and for the sick, the one that saved my life. It's super camel fecal matter, smelling quite ferocious. Even just the thought of it will make you very nauseous. But if you eat enough of it, you'll find that it's innocuous. It's super camel fecal matter, actually tastes atrocious. There we go. That was it. Basically, the cure to dysentery was to eat camel poop, because they have a bacteria that kills the Vibrio. Sorry, they have a Vibrio bacteria that kills the amoeba that causes dysentery. And it was a piece that was a little bit of fudged history, a little bit of early microbiology, and a little bit of things humans did. I think comes down to probably what I've been out of it. The number of poop-themed ideas that I have, like between the law of urination has its applications. I think I have one that's like 20 facts about poo, which is purely because one of the most impactful sentences one of my friends who went into medicine told me, he was like, my teacher said this and it kind of made me appreciate gastroenterology a little bit more. But basically what they said was, hey class, there's about 20 kilos of poo in this room right now. But you can't smell it right now, and that is all thanks to the anal sphincter. let's talk about how amazing it is. And this is stuck, went rent-free with me. I wasn't even in the class. I heard it secondhand. I was like, that's a great intro to the bud. So clearly I needed to make something poop themed so I could insert this fact into it as well and reutilize this intro from some incredible science lecturer, medicine lecturer in Spain. So again, adding to the collection of poop ideas, it might be a scatastrophe, but taking the long way around for a fecal transplant, baby. Catching up on all the chats. Looked it up from 50s to 80s. Oh! I was the most popular name in Latvia? I had no idea. Do you know where my name comes from? I was supposed to be born a boy. I was going to be called Thomas. And then, surprise, I was not a boy. So, and I was a cesarean, so my mum was out of it, and my dad was doing a crossword that morning, and he was doing the crossword, and one of the clues was like, name of a saint, which was Santa Ines, and it was like, that's a nice name. That's gonna be her name. So I was named from a crossword of the day I was born. Just once. Okay, sorry, back. What I read is that because children are not eating solid foods, babies are supposed to... Oh! I didn't know that. I was a very picky eater as a child, but I had no idea. There's a really great intro to Prof. Work on engineering. Oh my god, Chris Crisis, you've just reminded me of another idea that is absolutely being axed. I am not doing it. Which is, I wanted to explain the concept of closed loops and feedback loops in engineering using testicles, and how when someone loses one testicle but not both of them, they still produce the same amount of testosterone because of the way the feedback loop works hormonally. But if you lose both testicles, then you will have a substantial decrease in testosterone. And I thought that was a cool fact, but then I did remember that most of my audience has testicles, and maybe this would alienate my audience. So I ended up never writing this into a script. So this actually very much falls into the category of science videos I never made. And once again, sort of in that category of like poop, pee, genitalia adjacent. Hi Dom, welcome in, it's good to see you. Logs in during poop discussion. I don't think there was a single good time to log in today, to be fair. Also, hi, it's good to see you. Why go to all the trouble and cost of a fecal transfer when you can get all the fecal matter you want in your street food? Well, you can confirm once a little bit of poo is outside the body, it does not smell good. I do remember you were studying medicine and or a doctor already. So, yeah. It is impressive. And also, smells travel far, fast, and easily. So, yes, it is a biological miracle that we have two sphincters. You're referencing the... Oh! Okay, I don't think I knew that Scrub song. I was like, I know the TLC Scrub song. Na, 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 na. Don't remember how it goes either, actually. The one with on the passenger's side, trying to holler at me. I'm very bad at English lyrics if I can't read them. You're supposed to be a big baby, so they called you Lars. You know, when I was born, that's the biggest I ever was for my size relative to everyone else. I was heavier than my friends, and then I gave up and became a runt. You named your kids after base unit scientists in your field. That's amazing. That's amazing. After Om and Faraday. Nice. Yet my curiosity about mixing engineering and testicles has your attention. Are we saying we want this video theme to happen? As someone studying control systems, this is highly disturbing. You see, what Walter said is actually what I thought people would say in response to this video idea. Like, it's always been, it was on my list for ages of like something I could make that was kind of relevant to me. And I was like, you know, people with testicles don't like hearing about their testicles in that way. That's, you know, that's like, I'm autistic, but I know that. If you'd been born a girl, your evil parents would have called you Belinda. Sorry, I'm trying to make a silly reference, but I'm also I'm trying to make a Galinda Belinda pun here, but I keep coming. Belinda, dreams the way we planned them, if we work in tandem. Honestly, Belinda or Belinda? I just realized the name. But yes, I'm also glad I'm not Thomas. I think Inés is a more unique name, to be fair. I find that information fascinating and you have the anatomy to describe, although I'm also autistic and into science intensely, so maybe I'm biased. To be fair, I think whoever's in the live stream right now has possibly been selected for my particular brand of zany humor. I just don't know how it would go over on YouTube. But hey, this is a good sounding board for me to hear what ideas people like and are into, so... Shackle added, permitted term, girl my evil. Next one should be after Henry, but wife is not enthusiastic about Henry or Joseph. I feel that the problem with those names, maybe more so Joseph than Henry, is that they both do feel like very common. My butterflies, when did they turn off? Are you telling me? Oh, there we go. They're back. I was like, did they run out of power? Oh, they have a timer, so they turn off after a certain period of time. I was like, there's no way. I just put those batteries in. They couldn't have run out. As a chemical engineering graduate, controls. I didn't have the balls to do it. I see what you did there, Al. Well, not yet, but also I have way too many ideas than time I've ever had to make or script videos. You think the testicle video would still work? Okay. I will add it to my list then. Maybe it will get rescued from the pile of discarded ideas. Only how much hormone there is because the hypothalamus doesn't care how many testicles there are. Exactly. Because apparently this is a common thing that men worry about if they might have to lose a testicle for, you know, like testicular cancer, etc. They're worried that it will affect their testosterone levels, but it actually literally doesn't, as long as you keep both of them. And also, like aside from that, there's also on the top of your kidneys, there's like two little caps that also produce androgen, which is why people without testicles, such as myself, can also have testosterone for the jawline. You feel the same about everything you do, so good we have our own niches. Uh-oh! Chat is fighting! Oh no! Given that the humor is good. Yeah, we're a bit sensitive about those. I mean, to be fair, if the equivalent were made about my body parts, I would, you know, probably also have my feels about it. So, you know, I was trying to be mindful. Maybe I will workshop it. It's probably not going to be in the high priority list of video ideas, given that I have a bunch that I do want to do. Hello, Ash Celeste. Welcome in. It's good to see you. Your biggest question is, how do you even get introduced to controls during chemistry? I don't know. Chemistry people need to do that too. That shirt is so pretty. Thank you so much. I really, really like this. A friend of mine made it, and I purchased it from her at Art Walk 6 months ago. And I felt like it had my name written all over it, because I love bugs. It means to consider a control person. Raccoons in Ohio are doing illegal things. What brand of illegal things, though? One of your friends did think he had a lump down there and asked to take a look. Yeah, that sounds about right. And if your pee takes a long time, you should also get your prostate checked out. That's the other thing that we have learned today. And don't donate your member to the Iceland Penis Museum. It's not worth it. Belinda's such a white rich woman. Small dog's name! Come on, Belinda! Hop up onto my lap. There's a good boy. There's a good boy. Why are we talking about balls? We're talking about ideas that I never turned into science videos on certain occasions for very good reason. saying he gets touched once instead of twice and we don't have that awkward moment. I gotta say, being a doctor, I'm sure you've had to hear about everyone's rashes and problems. Always good to have weekly though if you're bored. I thought Shaka was endorsing friendly checks. I mean, same as boobs, right? They always say check your boobs once a month for lumps and the like. Yeah, weird things that you love also. Good, then you're in the right place. So true. Yeah, I don't think that's supposed to be checking him weekly. Are there any ideas on the gut microbiome and its many? That, yes, actually. I have wanted to make some sort of big, open-ended gut microbiome and interactions. There are a lot of things where I've wanted to make, for example, something that I think is very interesting is we often perceive our emotions as our reactions to reality. But not always, but sometimes our emotions are actually just our brain's interpretation of reality. So we may experience feelings about things that don't kind of necessarily match some sort of objective reality to sort of describe it in poor terms. NPR did a very, very good piece about this a few years ago. And I have wanted to make a convoluted video about this and tie it into certain concepts pertaining to OCD and mental illness that I have learned and applied over the years. And that was, it also ties into that. And also, like, you know, feeling anxiety or using antibiotics because of the way they interact with the gut, they can be a sign that either something is wrong with the gut or that your antibiotics are changing your gut microbiome. And that can also have other effects. Again, it's a very active area of research and we don't know very much. It falls into the same category of idea where I would like to talk about how SSRIs and antidepressants work, because there's a lot of it that we don't actually know how it works because you can't study that in a living human brain. You can only sort of see effects on tissues and on other organisms and then infer benefits and effects from taking them when performing placebo trials. But it's also, again, it's an area of research that I find fascinating and that I would love to make a good video about. But it feels like it would require, like, this is very much on the drawing board. I would have to do a lot of research and specifically see what is new and recent in that sense. In Kingdom Hearts, there's the town that never was. You could analogously depict the videos that never were. I think that's what, yeah, that's what I was going for. Fun fact, you're a cancer survivor and you have one. Well, high five. I'm glad you have one and that we have a whole Doug with us. Sort of semi on that note, like I have had cervical pre-cancer, and that's also been like a awkward part of my life in some ways. And I've also considered, like at some point, again, I kind of want to let the dust settle on that and like make sure that it's not ever coming back before making a video about it or, you know, raising awareness. Get your Gardasil vaccines, everyone. But that's also something I want to talk about. I don't think I would call it being, in my case, I wouldn't refer to it as being a cancer survivor because it never became cancer. It got nipped in the bud before it did. Go, adrenal glands, that's the one. I'm really behind on chat if we're still talking about adrenal glands. I didn't say I wasn't interested, I've never seen someone talk about testicles in the context. I'm always trying to think of new ways to talk about science and make it interesting. Whether it works or not, I don't know. But apparently that was the one that came to mind for me. And I've just had testicle control systems as verbatim a sentence on my idea video list for a long time. You're definitely not checking your friend's prostate. Fair. Does Iceland actually have a penis museum? It does, and we actually talked about that earlier. So if you want to go back in the VOD, there is a part where we read a letter of donation out loud. And last year I went there and I did do a stream about it and talked about it and learned that that donation letter was from someone who was still alive. So I had a lot of realizations in that moment as I was reading it for the first time last year. I was like, oh God. Got microbiology, or introduced to it by some random person you met in a pitta place during your second year. I remember that there was someone who studied immunology researched immunology, Adrian Smith, I know was interested in moving into that area of research. I don't know if that's where his area of research went or not, because then I, went into insect flight biomechanics, and I think immunology is super cool. I think microbiology is super cool, but I knew I didn't want to research it, so. It is not research I'm up to date with. Anything that's happened over the last 6 years, unless I have made a big fanfare of reading about it on stream, I'm probably out of the loop. Yeah, your emotion's not always your reaction, and your first innate reaction to something is usually what society has taught you. And your second thought reaction is more the real you. There's also that. Gardasil is a virus-like particle sort of related to your research. I didn't know that. I know that I missed out. Kind of very weird long story, but because I skipped a grade at school, I missed the year that they gave the Gardasil vaccine. And my parents aren't anti-vax, but apparently there were some people had bad reactions to that vaccine, so that was the one that they were maybe we just wait for the next version, except then when the next version came out, I'd already moved to the UK. Then when I moved to the UK, I missed the time when it was free. Then I missed the time when it was free in Spain. And then I moved to Malaysia, and I knew I was going to leave Malaysia. So I was like, I don't want to pay for the full course and then have to pay for the full course again somewhere else, because I'm going to be gone from the country before the next one is due. So I actually got it pretty late in life, and and literally the day that I got it was the day that they did this pap smear where they said, oh, things aren't looking good. You might have cancer. And then they were like, oh yeah, it is looking like pre-cancer. We gotta do something. So it was not a fun time of my life. Things are better now, as far as I know. I still have to do checkups every 6 months, and it's not out of the woods until it's been a number of years. So that's why I'm nervous to make a video about it, because I guess I would like to make a video where there's some level of finality to the story on my end, also so it's not something that's as emotional in the first person for me. But I'll always advocate for people get the Gardasil vaccine regardless of gender or age. It doesn't hurt to get it. Glad you're okay now. I'm glad too. It would have been a bad way to go, honestly. All right, let's see what else is on our idea list. These are all things that I have done. Then I have something called collabs. Oh yeah. Oh god, there's actually a bunch of collabs I never ended up doing. I have something here that's called Question for Presidential Candidates. I assume this is something I submitted to someone. I don't know what this is. Actually, I was going to do a collab with the founders of the Vagina Museum, where we played a game of Would You Rather and something called Smash Science. I don't remember why, but we decided never to post it. I think I fudged up the audio or something. And then she proceeded to found the museum and was working on other things. But I remember that was also a thing that I never released. So that's that hard drive. Let's see what else we've got. I'm trying to find my CERN trip. But I don't know. I might not actually have that. Oh, I think I know. I know what hard drive it's plugged in, but I don't think I have the hard drive within range right now. Then go just said, please make at least 100 more videos before that happens. I would like to. Honestly, I've stopped making goals for Draw Curiosity because I always had ambitions I would like to hit 100 videos on Draw Curiosity. I would like to reach 100,000 subscribers and stuff like that, and it's just not happened. But yeah, I don't have plans on going. Also, the HPV vaccine protects against HPV. The damage that the virus does develops very slowly, so you usually have ample time to catch it. If you have a cervix, don't miss out on your pap smears. You can get HPV
damage without a cervix. It will affect throat mucosa. Technically, it can also affect the genitals, but the progression is a lot slower. But cervixes are the ones that we actually have a defined protocol to test for it. So if you have a cervix, get a pap smear. You want to hear ideas? Sure, go for it. Isn't it most places to get HP? Most places should. I don't know what country you're in. Previously, they used to only offer the vaccine for free for people who were... First, it was only teenagers. Then it was 25 and under. Because basically, they wanted you to have this vaccine before you were likely to be sexually active. But now the current vaccine protects against many more strains than the original one. So it protects against the 2 types that form warts and 7 high-risk types. And the high-risk types are the ones that could develop into cancer. And it can also offer... So you might have been... You've probably been exposed if you've ever been sexually active. Or honestly, this is one of the most horrifying things I've ever read in any paper. 16%... someone did a study where they looked at gynecological equipment, and in 16% of the places there was HPV on that gynecological equipment. HPV is a very hardy virus. You know, COVID, sure, kind of devastating if you get it, but it's actually kind of easy to kill COVID. HPV, a lot tougher by contrast. Like, you have to bleach stuff to get rid of it. So, I don't know. I was like, did I get this at my gynecologist? I could have done. If it wasn't like a perfectly bleached and conclaved or absolutely clean speculum, etc. Again, a very horrifying thing to read. But the point is, it's not to make you scared of going to a gynecologist to get checked out. It's not to make you scared of having sexual contact with people. It is basically to say you are going to be exposed to a strain of HPV by means of existing, and the best protection against it is to get this vaccine. It's best to get it as soon as possible, but honestly, there's still no harm in getting it later in life. Get the idea of demonstrating osmotic pressure with a trash bag, a small stuffed balls. I mean, I guess I could do a whole engineering history using models of genitalia. Can you do a video on why you spend so much money building a gaming PC, then buy several games and never play them? Oh no! Well, just do what makes you happy, Mateos, is what I should say. If you're too tired to play games, as long as you're doing the thing that you want to do, I think that's fine. And play the games when you want to play them, and it would feel like a treat to do someone. Serious, it's called having a Steam account. To be fair, I have also seen this behavior. You haven't bought an I mean, at least it's there for when you want it, and you don't have to make the tough decision of, do I buy it now or not? You already have it. Do push-ups and junking man, so you realize that you want to play those games. I've never tried that one. Your friend hated pap smears so much he's researching a new way to test. Oh my god. Okay, so on this topic, and something that I actually would really love them to sponsor me, they were trying to do this thing where... So, okay, rewind. There's multiple things I want to talk about here. So first of all, they wanted to do these things with a pad where from your period blood, they could see if you might have HPV or abnormal cells. And that was a thing that I was very curious about. I found out about this as I was about to have my surgery, so I was like, well, I'm not going to delay like medical care that I need for a blind trial that I'm not even going to find the results for. Like, I know that I have HPV. But I liked the idea in theory, so I was like, if this like progresses in the future, I'd love to work with them or be sponsored in some way, because again, course that I care about. And I do agree, like, I don't like talking about pap smears, they are very unpleasant. And the biopsies, and if you do have a history of it, is way, way worse. But, and also this was kind of interesting, the last time I had a pap smear, they always tell me you can't have a pap smear when you're on your time of the month. And apparently that's because the endometrial cells can look like cancer cells because they're different sorts. So it can sometimes confuse or provide
a false positive. So I was also curious how that would work in the context of a pad, but I assume they're testing for the presence of the virus maybe, as opposed to the presence of abnormal cells, because those aren't going to shed. So I think it would probably be a test where they find the virus, and then if they find it, then it's like, okay, we'll do some more investigations with a colposcopy or a biopsy. Like some terrible poem, please don't go catch them all. Yeah, please, there's over 40 strains of HPV. Try and avoid catching them. Gardasil 9 will be good at guarding you from it. How long does the HPV stay effective? Good question. I don't know. I assumed it was for life, but you could get a booster because it's a 3-course vaccine. You get one after 2 months, and then you get one after 6 months from the first dose. So theoretically, the last 2, especially the last one, is meant to be like that reminder booster. If you are exposed to something like COVID or worse, measles, I'd probably look into potentially getting some boosters redone, because I know those can like erase immunological memory. I know for things like rabies, you can test for titers to see if you still have the antibodies from those vaccines or not. I don't know if an equivalent exists for HPV. But honestly, I mean, even though I've had it, my Rite Aid is constantly telling me that I need to get the HPV vaccine, so maybe I could get another one. I don't know. When you were a kid, someone got infected with molluscum contagium and there were no good vaccines for it. I think that was contagious, but otherwise completely benign. Like, it goes away on its own. It just looks like warts, if I am remembering my virology correctly. You don't know if you even want to know how Pierre and Marie Curie experiments would be explained with genitalia. Oh no. I wasn't trying to start a theme here. I'm just going to BRB very quickly for one moment. I'll be right back. I'm back. Sorry. So you have no idea what she's doing with the research, because that is highly under embargo. I wonder if it's related to this at all. It might be separate though, because I feel like the thing I was looking at was industry. But anyway, as you can see, the list of science video ideas I've never made is endless. I also have to go in half an hour, so we probably... Oh! I have good news. I found... Oh. What's a PFL file? This is not my CERN content. I thought I found my CERN videos, but I did not. I performed a search, but it did not succeed. Let's see, what other things do I have? Airplane windows, I did do that one. How stressful is this thesis? I talked about that one, and I will make it. I have one for my graduation, which I'm not gonna do, but I did script something which I never recorded, which was what made me decide to go into insect flight and like the research that I've done. Because at some point, I know I promised a long time ago I'd do a live stream about my PhD for my Patreon supporters, and I was too scared to live stream at the time, and it was under embargo. But now I know how to live stream, and now I'm like, I could just make it a video. So there's like my own personal research stories that I've considered making into videos, and some of them have even been scripted. I just never did them. So that exists too. That would be a good place to start, actually. I'm pretty sure there's like some random footage that's like hiding on a computer that's back in Spain that I don't know how to get, which is maybe part of the reason I was like, maybe not yet. I'd love to hear about why you wanted to learn about insect flight. Honestly, I just liked bugs, and I didn't want to do something that was ecology, and I didn't want to do something that was microbiology. So it would have to be at the organism level. And that's generally either animal behavior, which we don't really study in insects, or biomechanics and biomaterials. So that's actually the story why we did that. You've heard from multiple doctors conflicting things. Some say HPV. I've heard both of those things. So it's kind of the sort of thing, it usually self-resolves on its own. But if you're immunocompromised, which I think I might be slightly immunocompromised, or if you're unlucky, or you get a very aggressive strain, the rate at which your NK cells, the natural killer ones, get rid of the damage that it causes can be slower than the actual damage it causes. It is also a virus. It integrates into your cells. Like the procedure I had done, they removed part of my cervix and there weren't clean margins. So they didn't find damage, but there's probably parts of my cells there that still have HPV within it. HPV takes a very long time to become cancer. So like, sure, maybe when you would expect me to be fully immunocompromised when I'm in my third age or whatever, then maybe it will take 15, 20 years to progress from damage to cancer. Now, if I had that now, then sure, I'd have cancer within 5-10 years and then would have big trouble. If I'm 80 and I'm going to have cancer in 15 to 20 years, I mean, I probably won't be alive anymore, so it doesn't matter. There are times where HPV lies dormant and comes back, and it's one of those things, you know, like when you test positive for it, it's one of the rare ones that they say you don't have to tell your partner about it, or it might have been something that you've had dormant for years. There's no like guarantee as to where it came from. And there's also no easy way to test for it on genitalia that aren't cervixes. I also recommend, if you have a dentist, to have them check your mouth for things, because you can also develop HPV in your mouth, and it can also form lesions. And again, people don't necessarily know to look for that. It's so much that doctor is not a. Well, the thing is, it's just something that I don't think we know. Like we see, because a pap smear, when you're under the age of 30 in the US, they do not test you for HPV. They do a pap smear and they look for abnormal cells. They actually just assume you have HPV and it's going to self-resolve. And you're going to be one of those many cases where it goes away on its own. So as long as it's not turning into cancer, it doesn't really matter. Like everyone has it. Everyone has cytomegalovirus. Everyone gets exposed to the mononucleosis virus. Kind of the same thing. You're going to encounter some strain of HPV and the average person is going to get rid of it. Above the age of 30, they will test for HPV as well. A lot of this is because they assume above the age of 30 you're probably settled down and married. So if you're testing positive for HPV, they're going to assume that it's like more of a long-term infection that you haven't cleared up. So you might be at risk of developing pre-cancer, and also your immune system might not be as good the older you get. So they test for that reason. And at that point, it's like, okay, if you test positive, but there's nothing precancerous, it's just to keep an eye on it. And if you start to develop lesions or damage, then they're going to want to surgically remove it. So that is probably maybe the nuance that you might be looking for, but a lot of it is still a mystery. We don't know what makes it go away or what keeps a virus dormant, or why some people have it go away forever and some people it comes back, etc. But again, I'll say it again, Gardasil. Get Gardasil. Doctors are your first point of contact. They're like your parents, kind of have some ideas but not experts. I know that I convened a lot with a nurse friend of mine who specifically specialized in delivering bad HPV news to patients, and it's very much, there's no real consensus on it. But from everything that I have read and researched about it in the literature up until 2 or 3 years ago, which is when this was happening to me, so I was interested in learning more, that is what I have understood about it. But again, I am not your doctor. My doctorate is not the life-saving sort. Hello, Ura, welcome in. I also understood all herpes virus just went dormant. Yes, herpes viruses, all of them, as far as I'm aware. So I think there's HSV1 is traditionally your oral herpes, HSV2 your genital herpes. 3 is, I know there's cytomegalovirus, there's the mononucleosis one, there's chickenpox, which I have had, unfortunately, / shingles. All of them, they integrate their DNA into your nerve DNA. And that means that they live there forever, so they can be activated. Okay, I'm just texting my husband something. Oh, and yeah, that's what I've heard too. HPV can go dormant. Technically, in my case, they removed the piece, but like, you know, I'd just be re-exposed, right? Like, if it's on my finger. So, yeah, it's kind of unclear. I know that they removed it. I tested negative for a while, and then it came back. So, I don't know. I don't even know if it's, you know, could be a different strain, could be same one. There's no way of knowing. When you say everyone, what proportion? Sure. So, I read a statistic that everyone who... 80% of people probably will get HPV. Not necessarily that it will turn into cancer, but 80% of people will probably be exposed to it. 20 to 25% of people may be testing positive at any one time. And quite honestly, the 20% that evades that are probably going to be like religious people who only have sexual contact with one person who has never had a sexual history, and none of them ever go to a gynecologist or do anything that could ostensibly expose them to it. So I would generally say that if you are someone who is going to be with someone with any sort of sexual past, I would just assume that you are going to be exposed to it. Because there are also, I mean, there are also teenagers who can test positive for HPV without having had any sexual contact or history, which means that it would have been transmitted in a different way. How that was, honestly, it's speculation. There's no consensus of it. I have ideas, but I don't know. So yeah, that's what I mean by everyone. And again, I would just say, get the vaccine. Now, mind you, we read here we get around 13 years old, and while they haven't researched longer, they found no reason to believe. Yeah, originally they just wanted to give it to you young because they wanted it to precede having had that exposure to HPV. Now it protects against more strains, so you might want to look into which one you've had, because I know first of all there was the 2-strain one, which would have been 16 and 18, which are the two most aggressive, the ones that become most likely to become cancer. Then they did a 4-strain one, which includes the 2 low-risk ones, which form genital warts. And now they do one with 9. So some people get a booster because they would like the protection from the other 7 or the other 5 strains that aren't covered by those initial ones. Also, hi Uber, welcome in. Virus is very interesting and also scary. And hi Yoguta, welcome in, it's good to see you. We do have, I mean, yeah, a lot of our DNA is old viral junk. That's a lot. Hi, welcome in. You're putting a lot of faith in religious people right now. I mean, I made very specific claims about the behavior of them. That being said, not necessarily. You get HPV and you get HPV and you. HPV for everyone. Human papillomavirus is kind of impossible not to. The toilet seat. It's the toilet seat. I mean, it could be. The thing is, it doesn't die. It doesn't die easily. So it's a part of life, and it's generally, again, mostly harmless. But some of us have worse immune systems than others. So early this year, you tested your blood, all negative. Lucky you. Good. Well, HPV is not detected by a blood test, though. So, in fact, I know that it's quite hard for men to get tested for HPV. Cervarix is the 16 and 18 one. Yeah, the very first one are those 2 strains, then there was the 4, and then there's the 9. And I think they're working on one with more, but I believe it's 16 is the most aggressive one, which accounts for, I think, like 90% of the cancers. Then of the remaining ones, like 70% of the remaining ones, I think was 18.
And then the next most aggressive one is 45. And then after that, there are others that can progress to cause damage, but either the body is a little bit better at catching them or they progress much more slowly. Like it seems to be 16 and 18, the ones that if you're exposed to those, you kind of want to keep an eye on things. Cervix also produced by insect cells. I didn't know that. So at some point, I will make some video about this and like present the information in a way that's helpful. And also, you know, I don't want it to be fear-mongering. Like I don't want people to go away from this stream worrying like, oh, am I just destined to get this now? No, just get the vaccine. And you know, it's good to understand these things and know the risks of things. At least you shower twice a day, person living in the equator. I also love showering twice a day, which was a habit that I picked up from living in the equator. Mostly Harmless, was that an accidental reference? It was actually accidental, even though I do love Douglas Adams' books. Mostly Harmless, like great minds think alike in chat, I see. I'm gonna have to leave in 15-20 minutes. I'm not saying we need to do this today, but when we fill this, basically whenever we get to 100 subscribers this month, we're gonna do a Just Dance stream. It's actually kind of, in a way, a blessing in disguise that we don't get it today, because it's gonna be quite tricky for me to get it ready for Monday. But I have been told that I like need to talk about these things, so if we reach 100 subscribers in a calendar month, we'll do a Just Dance stream, and every time you redeem the 5-minute break, it can be a Just Dance song. And if we make it to 300, we'll do another horror stream, which I know you all love those. But yeah, I'm gonna see what other things. I'm trying to be mindful of time because I unfortunately need to face LA traffic very soon, and I'd rather give myself time so I'm not stressed out about it. I have a video title called Termite Infestation. I did actually make a video about that. Snail Vision, Corona. Oh, how to eat your spice! I have a... This one could be funny, actually. Let's see. So I started recording this thing where I was eating spicy noodles and making notes about it. Unfortunately, then my camera died throughout one of them and I gave up. But, I guess we have this. This is me in Malaysia. Hi. I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't want to give too much away, but there is milk there, but I was testing a theory that I have, that there's something more effective than milk to block the effect of spicy food. So I'm here very attractively manspreading as I am doing a very controlled, randomized experiment where I'm also writing down every single symptom that I have. This is the Samyang. Actually, no, this is not the Samyang Twix Spicy. This is an even spicier noodle set that I found in Malaysia. So I did all of that, but one of the videos fudged up. So I'm going to redo it at some point. This is also where I might put out a call to say, does anyone else want to participate in this experiment with me? Is anyone else willing to consume 4 spicy noodles on separate occasions under different conditions and write down everything about it for science for my video? Short hair in that video and pink. I don't know if my hair was pink yet. I think it had like little streaks in it, but I think I dyed it pink a little bit later. Oh, actually, I don't know. I think this was before the like lockdown started. The idea is that capsaicin is slightly acidic, so eating something that's slightly basic might help neutralize it. Maybe. That's actually not the idea that I have, but that's also a good one. Also, hi Brushkeeper, welcome back. That's right, what we need are more vaccines. We do need. I do think we should have slightly more improved vaccines against HPV. That'd be fun in a bun. That's a big bowl. Yeah, it's one of these where you put the water inside and it cooks itself. I had a very specific protocol to make sure that each one was prepared in an identical fashion so that the things that I was altering about it, I was being a scientist about it, as I should be. Stochastic sampling. Yeah, you'll try, but you don't like pasta. You prefer very good. It can be anything spicy as long as you can reliably replicate it. I don't know if you're in the Discord server, but If you are not, feel free to join. Maybe I'll make like a thread there, and anyone who wants to take part in this, then it's probably not going to be anytime soon because this will be a bit of trouble to edit. But again, that was a science video I never made, but I've had the idea for it for a really long time. You know, spicy but your stomach. Won't agree for you to help you out on this. That's very fair. There is no obligation to. If you're looking for stuff to block the chemical in spicy food, it would be apple juice. Oh, I've never tried that. I've always heard milk. You'd love to do it if you can get your hands on the supplies for it. Okay. Yeah, I know that I always have like at least a 4 or an 8 pack of like the super spicy samyang noodles for the day that I'll do this, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. All right, so that is also apparently stuff that I have here in this specific hard drive. Then I also have a lot of stuff that I recorded in Africa, which I also have ideas. You feel like you're gonna eat spicy ramen now because of this conversation? Enjoy. I'm going to be getting spicy KBBQ, which is the closest I can aspire to for this. I think milk is not good to block the spicy chemical. I think it's more that it competes with some of the same receptors, but it's not necessarily perfect either. So I also, again, I don't really have the time to go into it now, but at some point I want to do a stream to go through like all the cool things that I got to see and photograph when I went on safari last year, and I also have a bunch of video ideas for that. Like I want to talk about the biomechanics of giraffes, I want to talk about why lions are so sleepy, I want to talk about how bee eaters, what their hunting strategy looks like, I want to talk about how eagles hunt and how birds of prey hunt. So I have a lot of cool footage that would match that. I have just about every African animal on camera in one way or another. So the goal is to try and think of something where I can use all of it. But I still need to script it and record it and, you know, decide what order everything's going to be in. But that's also something that I'm working on. We have this local running joke in LV. I hate that what came to mind was Louis Vuitton. I know it's not Louis Vuitton. That to get any dissertation passed in Soviet and Latvia. Sorry, got it. Passed in Soviet and post-Soviet academia. Only thing required is a very scientific sounding title. Rest can be anything. Ooh, I also had the idea of just like science papers and like funny sentences that they have within them, and or funny titles for science papers. I have a lot of those. Usually that's like Patreon content, because every time I release a video I make a little behind the scenes and then I get to be like, oh yeah, I was reading this thing and this is and this paper had this sentence that was really funny. Also, hi, bit of a Zelda fan, welcome in, first time chat. You'd be curious to learn about the behavior differences between wild animals and the same ones in captivity. Does anyone here watch Nathan Fielder? I'll say that Nathan Fielder, the rehearsal, had a very... something that touches upon that. I don't want to give any spoilers in case anyone is watching, following along and hasn't seen it yet. It's not quite answering that, but I do think talking about genetics, epigenetics, and, you know, phenotype, nurture, development, etc. would be quite interesting. And on that note, if I were to ever make a video about the dire wolves bull, I'd be talking about that too. The ones about, oh, that is good, the ones about the gravitational waves are so funny. So when you were working with polyacrylamide gels, which to make them use some neurotoxins, he said at the end, drink a glass of milk. Huh. I guess it does act as a block in some way. Is the reason licorice? You mean like licorice tastes stronger with milk? I actually don't like licorice very much, so I didn't know that was a phenomena. I learn more every day. I know that things being hotter can make you taste them more, like the temperature being hotter, so if you make something colder, you taste it less, and that's maybe part of it. But I don't know. I'm thinking I'm probably gonna end on YouTube roundabout now. I'm probably gonna continue on Twitch for another 5 10 minutes, but I do unfortunately have to bounce soon. And I don't want to like end in a rushed way. But I do want to say thank you so much to everyone who's hung out today. Thank you to everyone who hung out on the live stream on YouTube as well. Thank you, Mateos, Sirius, Michael, and there was one more person. Doug. There we go. Doug and Dying Umbrella, who all signed up, which I really appreciate it, because with 5 members, I can apparently add more emotes over on YouTube. Thank you everyone for all the lovely gift of subs over on Twitch as well. I really, really appreciate it. So yeah, I'm gonna end over on YouTube. If you want more of this, or you want to catch the very tail end, feel free to catch me over on Twitch. That is where I go live most reliably. If people do enjoy this and want me to do it more often on Draw Curiosity, I can see about trying to do it more regularly, but I'll say for now, definitely the next time I'll be live on the YouTube channel will be for my birthday, 22nd of July, which is a Tuesday, and I will actually be live on my actual birthday, as I was last year. My actual stream anniversary celebration is going to be not this Sunday, but the following one, because that's when that's the day that Twitch observers, which is when you become affiliate. It's going to be very weeby, which is why I am not doing it on the main channel, because copyright reasons. But yeah, so those are like the main things I've got planned. And it's going to be a cosplay one. Every time we reach 100+ points on Twitch, I do a cosplay stream, and we're holding strong on that front. So, okay, I'm going to end on YouTube. So once again, thank you so much, those of you on YouTube, for hanging out. Consider following over on Twitch if you want more of this. If not, I will see you the next time that I make it over on YouTube. And then I will... Alright, ending stream.